Welcome back to WRPL, the podcast where we talk about all the things we are watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And today, episode 37, Jurassic World Dominion. And the episode where Ben will have to, eat his words and have a big mouthful of crow. I've made some predictions, and I know I was wrong on those, so...
As you often are.
Yeah, I'm just so bad with those things. I think I know what's up, and I'm just dumb as shit, and I should see things coming, and this is definitely not going to be one of the highest grossing films of the year. It probably will be one of the biggest bombs, I think.
Oh, I mean, I didn't think it was necessarily going to be, number one like you did, but outside of Marvel, but, I mean, my theater was actually pretty packed
really,
today.
Yeah, mine was not, especially with... Buzz Lightyear or Lightyear coming out next week. This isn't going to maintain any sort of major lead. I mean, Top Gun made another $50 million this weekend. It's third week in a row.
Good for Top Gun.
Yeah. Who would have thought? Top Gun is probably going to be one of the highest grossing films of the year. And not the big dinosaur movie.
We'll get into it more in the review, but I was just thinking after I saw this movie today, it's just what an interesting contrast of a franchise. I mean, obviously it's different because there's been multiple Jurassic Park films where this is only the second, but where both are really kind of going, hey, remember this thing? Nostalgia. Mm-hmm. We're bringing the old cast back and everything, and just two completely different levels of filmmaking.
Yeah.
But we'll save that for the main review.
We will. We have only a few things before we get to Jurassic World. I want to start with you. How about that? Okay. What have you been consuming, Steve?
So I played a game called Mass Effect 1.
New game, brand new game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, not not a game that's been out for what, 14 years?
I think it was 2010. I could be wrong.
Okay.
So 12.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, this is a game I heard a lot about. It's one of those trilogies that everyone says is one of the best of all time, and it's just a game that I didn't get into over a decade ago when it first came out, and I don't necessarily like to jump into franchises. It's if I missed them, I missed them kind of thing. They had the Legendary Edition, so it's a remake of all three for PS4, and it was only $25. And I was like, no, I'll pick this up. I've only heard great things, so let me check it out. And the first game is, so from what I've looked into, 2 and 3 were just kind of updated graphically wise, but the first one they kind of rehauled the game, so I guess it's more cohesive with 2 and 3 in terms of gameplay and look. And honestly, it was pretty good.
Yeah. I hear great things.
So there's a YouTube channel talking about it where it's this guy's favorite video game series, and him and his writing partner wanted to try and pitch to HBO or something as the next Game of Thrones, but in space.
Sure.
So for those who don't know, Mass Effect is about the human race are essentially kind of relatively new to space travel. This obviously takes place in the future, and now we coexist with all these other different races of aliens, and there's kind of this galactic council, and they're trying to decide are humans worthy of sort of joining our group, and so we all kind of work cohesively together. But tension's kind of high because obviously humans are very militaristic. But there's a rogue, what they're called specters. It's basically just kind of their elite kind of warriors, who kind of have free reign, not necessarily free reign, but can kind of do whatever they want, traveling the galaxy, and they're just kind of representatives of the council. And so you play John or Jane. I played the male character, obviously, Shepard, and you're the captain. You become captain of the Normandy, and it's your mission to stop this rogue agent, this rogue Spectre alien, and you become a Spectre yourself. You're the first human Spectre, and you just travel the galaxy, going to different planets, and saving people and helping people. You can kind of do some shady stuff if you want to, and lean towards more of not a bad guy role, but you're just kind of essentially a corrupt space cop.
Okay.
But I always just try to do as much good as possible.
It's hard being the bad guy in games. I want to be the good guy.
But that's the thing. It's not hard to be the bad guy in this game. It's not like you do something and it causes necessarily more people to come after you. It's just kind of how you want to let the story unfold, because it is kind of, you get to make choices throughout the game and certain dialogue choices. But this is one of the things I didn't like about it. It's just there'll be 3 dialogue options, and it'll say like, "Hey, how you doing?" But you click on it, it's like, "So tell me, what's going on with you?" It was never the dialogue. It's like it's always some variation of the dialogue you choose, and so sometimes it's kind of confusing because I think like, "Oh, this is the statement I kind of want to convey," but then you say something else that isn't that. And it just comes off a way that I didn't want it to sound. And so, like, that part kind of annoyed me.
That's why I like it when it's tone, like happy, sad, argumentative. Like, you don't know what they're going to say. You just, like, the emotion I want to express.
I think I learned that is like the top one was kind of the more peaceful option. The middle one is kind of like the middle of the road. And the bottom one is usually like kind of like the angrier version of it. But the game never specifically says that. Now, you can bump up your charm and your... I forget what the assertiveness or whatever it was, and it adds dialogue options because there's parts in the game sort of you can choose to like talk to this person in a polite way, and it might get them to stop doing their crime versus like the aggressive way, which they're just like, well, screw you, man, and then it comes into a gunfight. All that aside, but being like traveling through space is pretty cool. I mean, it's not like you get to fly the ship. I'm hoping you do in the future games. There is a dark what's the third Batman Arkham game? Arkham Knight, where there is a like a tank kind of aspect of it where you're driving this.
All right. But is it fun?
No, not really. I mean, it's fine. It's just there's like tons of side missions where you just travel to a different planet, and there's just like our station on this planet needs our people are missing, you got to go help them, and then just driving around this planet until you get to a spot, have a shootout. There's occasional giant monster that comes up. It's all just busy work, but I was never bored with the busy work. But every planet is essentially the same in terms of like the mission. It's just drive around, get to a spot, fight a thing, and then eventually when you do all the stuff on the planet, you leave. But the planets vary. It's like this one's a nice planet, this one's a volcanic planet, this one's a grassy planet. Anyway, but the main thing about the game is the story. And the story is the thing that everyone's just like, it's great. And it is. I had a real great time. All the characters are really well written. Except for the main character, I didn't like his voice actor. Everything he said just kind of comes off as very bland. I feel like all the aliens have more personality and characteristics than him. He's just kind of like, I'm a soldier. And his just voice was very boring to me. I got to have sex with a blue alien chick, so that was cool. It was like you had to choose between her or the human chick. So of course,
get adventurous.
Yeah, I had,
you're in space. I mean, win in space. Yeah, that's the phrase.
But anyway, really interesting game. I enjoyed it, and I hear 2 is like fun, like far surpasses 1, and I think 3 kind of goes down a little bit.
I heard they beef it in the end.
Yeah.
But maybe they updated it since and changed things?
I don't know. So we'll see. Tune in for Mass Effect 2 and 3 review. But overall, I really enjoyed it. And, I wish I could have played the original one to see how it compares. Because I have, I'm sure there's people who played the first one and they're like, yeah, I loved it. But, these game mechanics I didn't love about it. And I there might have been stuff I missed from the first game. But... the only other thing I'll say about this is, so there's stats that as you level up, you put points into stats, and so you're better with rifles and unlocks kind of special moves. But there's a whole wheel of special abilities that I didn't know existed until the very last boss fight.
Wow.
And that's on me because I was just being dumb because I was adding these points, but it never said like press this button to use. There was like a tutorial on like
tell you.
Yeah, there was a tutorial on like every sort of thing to do in the game except for using this wheel that gave you abilities. And for whatever reason, I was adding these points to this thing. I was like, yeah, I'm sure this comes into... I thought they were things that just kind of like randomly automatically happened or something. I honestly don't know what I was thinking.
Oh man, there are people listening like, this motherfucker is so dumb.
I like to think I'm pretty good at games. Not competitive games, but like the story games I play. And I don't know what happened. Really, it was just like, it just clicked to me. I was just like, you know what? I've never used like this barrier ability or this warp thing. And it's like, what the fuck is this? And then I'm looking, because the game comes with little flyers that come in the box. And I'm looking at it and it's just like, ability wheel is in the corner. I was like, oh, and I click on it. It's like, I could have used this thing
Wow.
the entire game.
Wow.
And yeah, so part of me I want to blame the game for not spilling it out for me,
Sure.
but at the same time, I was just kind of dumb.
I'm just thinking, like, all the situations where it's like, man, that really would have been handy. Oh, that's how I was supposed to do that. I was supposed to use this thing. Man, I took the really hard route in using... It's like getting to the final boss and never realizing, like, oh, I have another weapon. I've been using this level 1 weapon to kill everybody. It's taken me forever.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, the game wasn't particularly hard. I died a few times, but I never found it difficult or frustrating, and all I did was shoot things.
Yeah, it's cover-based shooting, right?
I mean, you can... Yeah.
Okay.
So all in all, Mass Effect 1, enjoyed it, holds up. I look forward to playing number 2.
Cool. It's one of those games that I hear it's great, but never pulled the trigger on it. So I'll wait for your final review of the third one and see if it's even worth my time. Because if it's not great all the way through, it's like, well, it has some really good highs, but then it really stinks. No, thank you. I'll pass. All right. I watched a miniseries. After last week, I was talking about Kids in the Hall and their new season on Amazon. In the suggested, I was just going to put on like a random episode from some season. And then I saw that about 12 years ago, they had a miniseries called Death Comes to Town. And normally, it's all sketch comedy is what they do. Mm-hmm. And you have returning characters, but you never really had ongoing stories. But this is... I think it's 7 episodes, and it's about a small town, and Death rolls in, and he has to take a certain amount of victims. He's just kind of on his job. He's this, like, sleazy biker-looking dude with this weird giant tooth always hanging out of his mouth. He's really kind of disgusting looking and hard to watch. And you just get kind of he kills the mayor, the beloved mayor. He's like this big hot shot, comes into the diner and like kisses your girlfriend, and you think it's cool that the fucking mayor kissed your girlfriend. And so Death comes and kills the mayor, and it's a mystery because it's not like Death comes in and kills him. He gets someone to kill him. So it's a murder mystery, and you get involved with all the characters' lives. The mayor's wife is a drunk, and now he put it in his will that she becomes mayor, and you have the local hotshot hockey star who lost the big game and became a disgrace, and now he's obese and he's a recluse and he's just in his house years and years after the big game. You have this local news team of competing anchor women, like the weather girl wants to move up. Competing, I'm sorry. You have competing anchor women. One's the weather girl, and she wants to do more news, and the main anchor woman is in love with the sound guy, and there's just all these like interconnected stories. And of course the 5 main kids, they play all the characters, and it's very, very funny. And I guessed who the killer was after like 2 episodes. It's not a difficult mystery, but one thing I'm so impressed with is, and I don't know if it's in the writing process or if it's after the fact, but you have these 5 actors playing all these characters, and none of them ever really have to work against themselves. Like, the story never unfolds in a way where they would have to like do a split screen and talk to themselves. They're so good at placing each actor in these certain characters, so it never happens. There's like one scene where Bruce McCullough has to be in the same scene with himself. It's like he plays the hotshot star and he plays the mayor, but they're never in the same shot together. It's like you cut from one, you cut to the other, and it's more of a group thing, so they're never really actually talking one-on-one. That's like the closest thing. And I just wonder, when they write it, they go, oh yeah, you're definitely playing this person, and then, crap, he's going to have to talk to himself. We have to rewrite this scene, or it's like, okay, well, now we got to put a different actor in that role. I don't know. It's just a really well-written and very funny. Dave Foley as the mayor's drunk wife steals the show. She's so good. I say she the character, he the actor. It's on Amazon. If you like anything from the Kids in the Hall, watch this. And I feel like an idiot that I took 12 years to watch it. I knew they made it, and I just never got around to it. So I'm glad I did. And I recommend it for anyone, even if you don't know Kids in the Hall, because it's just funny.
And it just stands alone by itself.
And it just stands alone. Yeah. I mean, it does help. Some characters from their sketches do cross over. Not a ton, though. Just some of the more vague ones. Like, there's always these two cops that are kind of like apathetic and stupid, and you can place them in any town in any state, so they're there. But a lot of the characters are brand new, and they're just fantastic.
What a weird country it would be if mayors can die and just,
Just
will their power to their relative. It's just like, oh, President Donald Trump was killed. Oh, looks like President Ivanka Trump is now the president because he put it in the will.
Yeah. It's fine.
Donald Jr. is now head of state or whatever.
It's a very heightened reality type of show, and it's just good stuff. There's not like a bad actor in it. I'd say Death is my least favorite because he's just so gross and annoying, and but everybody else is very, very good.
Nice.
So what do you got?
So I listened to something.
I ramble on about Kids in the Hall.
Yeah. I listened to Audible original Impact Winter.
This is their first original, right?
As far as I know.
Okay. I was seeing ads for this. It was like, ooh, what show is this? Oh, it's an ad for a book? You have actors in costumes? And I mean, it's kind of cool to go like,
no costumes.
Hey. Yeah, in the commercials. There was someone with...
Oh, I never saw the commercial.
Yeah, there was like someone with a sword or whatever. But at first I was like, that's kind of weird to have visuals. But it really makes sense. Like, hey, do you like what you see? This is what the book's all about. This, you may have to use your own imagination when you're actually listening to it. But like, here's a little glimmer. Mm-hmm. Smart. Go on.
Anyway, so yeah, it's based off a book, but it's not like...
It's an audio play.
It's an audio play, so that it's just they're reading off a script. It's not a book being read at you. Mm. So this is a story.
But it's adapted from a book, just like cut down to an audio play.
So I didn't do any research on the book.
Okay.
So
thanks for coming prepared, Steve.
Whatever. Shut up. Cut this. Anywho, Impact Winter takes place in the year 2042. Some years ago, there was a comet that hit Earth and basically changed our ecosystem to where it's kind of like essentially an eternal winter. The sun has been blotted out, and because now that there's no sun, or at least not a strong sun presence during the day, vampires have now kind of come out of hiding and have sort of just hunted humans to... Obviously, the destruction of Earth has like hurt humans a lot, but vampires are the ones kind of like cleaning up the rest.
Okay.
So when I first started listening to the show, I just thought like that somehow the comet had created the vampires.
Okay.
Or that vampires are aliens or something like that. Because they never. At first, I don't think they said it, but you come to find out that vampires have been around for hundreds and thousands of years.
Just been hiding.
They've just been in hiding essentially, and what's great about it is like they don't try and call them like biters or freaks or anything. It's just like, no, they're vampires, and they call them vampires.
I was trying to think of a good stupid name because Walking Dead does
Suckers,
that for everybody. It's like the Rotters, the Crazies, the Deadheads.
So there is three different
Suck faces. The Suck faces.
The Suck faces, yeah. So there's three types of vampires. There's the Blights, which are essentially your basic vampire
soldier kind of zombie.
Kind of, yeah. They're the zombie ones. They're the not humanly cognizant. They're just kind of just the animal versions of them. Then there's your vampires that speak and are try and trick you, and they'll have like a little girl out in the middle of the street and be like, oh, I need help, and then you come out and of course it's like trying to kill you. And then there's the overlords, which very few people have seen. They're the leaders of the whatever vampires are in the area, and they have special abilities.
Are they like the elders, the ones that have been around the longest, the original vampires?
Yeah, you learn more as the story goes along.
Well, I'd hope so.
Yeah. Why are you being a dickhead right now?
I'm just having fun with you, Steve.
So the main character is Darcy, and she's a sword-wielding badass, and she has a younger sister named Hope, who's like who grew up kind of underground a little bit, and because they live in this castle, this old castle. The story takes place in England, And so she's kind of the head protector of this group, and their leader is played by the guy, I forget the actor's name.
We're good at that.
Yeah, I should just look it up. But he played the Onion Knight on Game of Thrones. Do you want me to just kind of tell you?
Yeah,
what
sure.
goes
Yeah,
down, or?
yeah, go for it. I don't think I'll get around to this.
Okay, so I mean, what I will say is I enjoyed this. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as the Batman one, but I think that's more just because I'm a big fan of Batman. I think Batman kind of floundered a little bit at the end, but I was kind of more invested in this. But if you're a fan of vampires and horror, I think this is right up your alley. I think it was a lot of fun. So, of course, her sister gets mad at her, runs away, and she's like, all right, I got to go after her. She goes after her, saves her sister, but gets killed in the process. But she wakes up, and she's been turned into a vampire.
Okay.
So she gets turned by this vampire named Rook, who he is an overlord, and he kind of tells her that she is now an overlord as well, but she's the first overlord in over 300 years.
Okay.
There's only like 25 overlords in the entire planet, and they all kind of have territories, and this is his territory, and he's just like, he's, your good vampire, where he's not trying to like just kill tons of humans or anything. He's kind of learned to drink other blood and will only drink a human every however many years or whatever, like only when he absolutely has to, because he's just like, you're gonna have to kill humans, it's just a thing.
So they establish like you don't have to have human blood, it could be any sort of blood.
Yeah, it's like let's say they drink pig's blood or whatever, like it'll satiate them for a time, but there's always kind of the craving for human blood.
Okay.
And they can't survive forever off of like cow's blood or whatever.
Okay.
Like they have to drink human blood at some point.
But then it'll last you a couple years, and you can.
I can't remember exact like timeline, or it's like when you first get bitten, like you want human blood like bad, and because he's so old, he really doesn't need it that often. Like he's just kind of grown out of it essentially.
Okay.
So that's what's good about him. But I mean, obviously, you just pick like, oh, I found a rapist out here, and you just drink his blood because you don't feel bad about it.
Yeah. Well, okay. Sorry to keep cutting you off, but are these vampires that have different territories? Do they have like plans, or are they just hunting humans everywhere? Do some of them like, oh, well, I actually established a society and I'm raising humans either as cattle or as my subjects, and they all what?
No, continue.
And it's just like, well, I'll provide for you and I'll house you, but once a year, one of you has to sacrifice yourself to me, and something like that.
So in the early episodes, there is a character who comes to their settlement and is just like, hey, I'm passing through or need a place to stay, and they're like, okay, well, you're new here, so we gotta like kind of interrogate you, and you come to find out, oh, well, she's a vampire. So this vampire becomes friends with Darcy's sister, but she's on the run from the person who turned her, which now becomes the villain of the story. And so the villain, Calistrata is her name. She's also a vampire who's been around for hundreds of years. Why are you laughing?
It's such a vampire.
It's such a vampire name, yeah. And so in her area, she lives in London. And what they did was they use human as cattle, essentially. And her power is she can like kind of control people's minds. And like she can pull memories out and stuff. And I think even like freeze them by just, mind powers.
She's Professor X.
Yeah, essentially. And so what she has done is she has created, like you said, essentially a facility where I don't kill the humans, at least not that often, but I drink them and then I mind wipe them, and so they forget all about it, and so they can all kind of live in London happily and peacefully. But occasionally but I'm just constantly like, we're drinking their blood and then just making them forget about it. So she's just like, it's kind of like a peaceful thing.
Yeah, it's pretty ethical too. I'm not turning you, I'm not killing you, I drain you.
Yeah.
But then you get to live your life. And this is the villain?
And this is the villain, yeah. But I mean, they kind of like push it as like, clearly she doesn't care about humans or if they die, or she doesn't really care if they're like happy. It's just like, it's more
It's cost effective.
It's cost effective. It's like if they just murder these humans indiscriminately, then eventually their supply is going to run out.
Yeah, that's why like Deacon Frost in Blade drives me nuts. Like, we're going to turn the whole world into vampires, but we'll save a few for blood banks. I'm like, really? That's dumb.
But I guess she was running low, and that was part of the reason why she like came to the Rook's areas, because like, while I'm here, I want you to give me some of your stock, because we are running kind of low. So I mean, I don't think it's like an entire million people who live in London now are just living there. I think there's just a very small supply, because the impact winter happened and vampires happen and stuff.
And how long has the winter been going on? Is this like year 1?
No, I can't remember the exact number of years, but I want to say it's been like 5 years.
Okay.
Because, it hasn't been like super long, but
so it's not like there are people who are being born who's like who've never seen
no
the
one's
real world.
really grown up in the winter quite yet. But anyway, so you come to find out that the vampires have prophecies, and and one of the prophecies is that the first anointed to be born in the eternal winter will bring about summer.
Okay.
So Rook, eventually tells her this, or she comes to find out that she might be essentially vampire Jesus and is the one who's going to save the entire world.
How does a vampire solve a galactic issue?
They don't quite say it. It's just simply the prophecy. So anyway, Callistrata wants her daughter, that whenever they turn someone, it's like their sons or daughters or whatever. So she wants her daughter back, and her like small army of vampires like attacks the castle, and so there's kind of a battle, and Hope becomes like the new Darcy. And so anyway, long story short, Darcy kill Callistrata, and Rook is just like, all right, I'm gonna go to the Vampire Council and claim that I was the one who killed her. It was self-defense. She encroached on my territory, all this other stuff. But like, they might just kill me anyway, because we don't kill each other. That's not really our thing. So her new mission, there is a vampire queen. You never see her. They never. It never really says where she is, but that becomes Darcy's mission at the end. Is she's like, okay, if I might be the one, if this prophecy is true, I might be the one to kill the queen and essentially get rid of vampires, and hopefully the human race survives.
So that is one of the things, like, if you kill the head vampire, everybody turns back, or do they all die?
I think that none of the vampires quite know. It's just that's the prophecy states when the queen dies, like this kind of thing will happen. I don't think they'll turn back human. I think they'll just all die. And then there's just no more vampires.
Yeah, I like that better than you turn back.
Yeah,
I've never liked that part.
They never say exactly that's what happens. At least I don't think so. But I think the way it's worded is kind of just like I don't think she expects to live at the end of this. She's like, I'm just going to be the one to kill this.
Yeah, and I can see that being a tragedy thing. Like, oh yeah, if we kill her, we all get to go back to normal and have our normal lives. And then they do it, and then what's going on? Why do I feel this way? And then they die.
So
is this going to be an ongoing series? Is there another one?
It essentially ends in a way where just, because basically, like I said, it ends where she's like, I'm going to go kill the queen. Cut to black or whatever, and
cut to audio black.
Audio black, yeah.
Which I guess is just like a blah.
So it definitely leaves room for sequels. I don't know if there is a sequel written or if there's more planned, but I think this audio book was far better acted than the Batman one. I just enjoyed the Batman one more because it was just kind of more fun.
Batman.
and Batman, yeah. But it's funny that both audio stories I've read were essentially about bat people.
Yeah. But this sounds cool. It sounds like up my alley.
Yeah, and apparently Impact Winter is like a real theory that scientists had. It's like if a comet strikes Earth, it's not necessarily going to destroy humanity from the impact, but it's just because of
kicks up enough shit.
It kicks up enough stuff to block out the sun, and like that's what sort of is dangerous to the human race.
That would suck. But I also don't want to die in like a huge tsunami. Just some huge wave caused by a meteorite.
I mean, if it lands in the middle of the ocean, like there'd probably be a big wave that just takes out maybe coastal towns. But if you live in the middle of
Pacific Ocean, don't hit the Atlantic.
But I mean, they're they're in England, so and England's an entire island, so
Yeah.
I don't see how. I mean, I guess if they got hit in the Pacific, it wouldn't.
Yeah, if it hit the Indian Ocean, it's
Yeah,
not going to
yeah.
affect them as much.
But yeah, you don't get a sense of how much of the world is covered. Like, they're using radios and stuff, but they haven't really been in contact with anybody. Like, outside of their community, they don't really know
You don't
if
know what's
like
going on
other
in
vampires
Australia?
are. Yeah, they don't know how many humans have survived. They don't know if the entire world is impact wintered.
But the vampires know, right? Because they know people have different territories, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I think they briefly talk about, but it's not like it was like, oh, we have our vampire branch in Australia. They never really mention other countries. It's just like, this chick lives in London. I mean, for all I know, these vampires are just strictly located in like the European area.
and and they can be bullshitting.
Yeah, because I guess, and it would make sense because I guess that area is kind of gloomy anyway, so it'd be a good place for vampires. Because I can't imagine, vampires are really clamoring to live in Hawaii.
Yeah,
Or something like that. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's, if you like horror, if you like action, it's really well acted, and it's a fun little listen. And it's 12 episodes. Each one's half an hour, except for the last one, which is an hour long. And honestly, it's more like 45 minutes because the credits are like 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's like they're reading off everybody out. But yeah, I mean, it was a good time, quick listen. Recommend if you're a fan of just. I'd like to see more of these sort of old timey story radio shows.
Yeah.
So I hope I can find more that are worth my time on Spotify. I think there's some Marvel stuff out on there, so I might check some of those out.
Yeah, that sounds cool. All right, let's move on.
Yes, please.
All right, so I think the last thing on our list before our main topic is just really minutes ago we finished season 3 of Barry.
Mm-hmm.
What a wonderful show. I'm so sad it's gone, but happy it's coming back.
Yeah, it seems like it just started and it's already over. It went by so fast.
2 months is nothing in TV world.
Mm-hmm. It is and it isn't.
Yeah.
Because there's so many shows that come out and you can finish it that day.
Yeah, so and I was thinking about that in a way, like I was sad that Better Call Saul is off for 6 weeks, but The Boys is on. And by the time The Boys is done, Better Call Saul will be back. So it'll be like nothing. I'm not sitting there going, oh man, no Better Call Saul today. It's like, well, I got Boys in a few days. So are you caught up on that?
I am.
4 episodes? Yeah.
4 episodes, yep.
Yeah. We'll talk about it off air. Okay. But Barry, what would you rank it in the other seasons?
So here's the thing. I love this show, but I also have forgotten like everything that's come before. So I want to say that this is my favorite season.
Okay.
Only because I like that it's kind of gone in a totally different direction in terms of like tone. And I think Bill Hader's quickly becoming a fantastic director.
Oh, yeah.
There's some great stuff
Yes.
done this season.
That
and
street to beach scene 2 weeks ago was fantastic. You know, when he's walking down the street and then the waves come up on the street.
And the chase sequence with the motorcycles with
no sound or music.
Yeah, just great stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, how did this guy make this stuff?
I don't know.
So impressive. So I will say, just from a sheer audacity of the season, I'd say season 3 is my favorite. And I mean, I love a good comedy, and I think seasons 1 and 2 are very, very funny, and season 3 definitely has some quality jokes in it. But it's just different, and I especially how it ended this season. If season 4 is the last one, I'd be interested to see how it wraps up.
Yeah, I know we had when Dexter kind of shit the bed all those years ago, and we would talk about like what we wanted Dexter to end up being. Dexter in prison and having to either like rise to power and get respect or have people after him, and what a fun season that'd be. I could see us getting that. Now we have Barry in prison waiting for his trial or whatever, and just what do you do with Barry in prison? Does he hold his own? Does he cower to someone bigger and more powerful than him? Is he the hot shot because he is who he is? I think we'll get some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about the law, but I always feel like you see people get arrested and stuff, and then it's like, oh, well, they posted bail.
Yeah.
So now they're just out on the street until the trial. It's just like, but didn't this guy just caught him with like 400 kilos of cocaine or something? It's just like, well, yeah, but now we know he's got it.
Yeah.
but doesn't he have to stay in jail? Like,
Yeah.
so if Barry doesn't go to jail, I imagine the new season would just be him killing all the people who would like keep him there, or try and go on the run or something.
Yeah, breaking out and going on the run. I think that'd be fun. And then like trying to hunt down Sally, figure out where she would go. And of course, like she goes back to her hometown, so why wouldn't he check that?
Yeah, I feel like that'd be an easy sort of thing to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what did you think about the season overall?
I really like this season. There's so much like looming dread and just wonderful shots of people standing in a doorway, and you just get all the impact of what that implies. Whether it's what's the dead cop's dad? I can't remember his name.
Jim,
just like standing there and Kuzno's having a great time with his industry buddies, and he's just standing there and like, oh crap, he knows what's up. And then in this episode, we just had Sally's ex-boyfriend just in the door frame as Bill Hader's walking by. It was like a horror jump scare. It's just this dude, and like, who is that? And it took us a second, but what a scary scene of him like choking Sally for a long time. And in most movies, choking is relatively short because it kind of goes to a choke and then like a neck snap or something. But it was like Promising Young Woman. They just like really held on it. And then we had one of the most like joint painful, like cringing, like it hurt my whole body. She stabs him in the back of the head behind the ear, and it's deep enough that it's poking his eye because he thinks she stabbed he thinks she stabbed him in the eye, but he's actually feeling the knife from like the back of his eyeball. Oh my god, it's just making my joints hurt talking about it.
Yeah, it's very rare that you and I kind of get surprised by movies and television, and this is one of the more shocking ones, because when you first see it, it just looked, I thought she just got him in the neck, which is like the classic place to stab him. So the fact that it went the way it did was surprising, and just like the slow like blood dripping from his eyeball, and just crazy.
It's like right below your ear, right under your jaw, up through that little hole in the base of your skull, or oh my god, awful. Yeah,
I would definitely not want to be how I would want to go. But I mean, that's not even what really killed him. He just kind of got up. He's like, ow, that
hurts.
Sucked.
Let me pull my phone out and see what's going on here. And then he gets beaten to death with a baseball bat.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where like something awful happens to you or physically, and you're just like, oh, that kind of hurt, but it doesn't really register to you. And then once you see what happened, you're like, oh, and then suddenly your brain kind of kicks in and like, yeah, dude, this is bad. And then you suddenly feel
you drop something on your foot and you're like, ooh, that sucks. And then you take your shoe off and go, oh crap, no, that's worse.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you just feel everything. But if whatever you felt, you didn't feel it for very long.
Yeah. I love this season. One of my favorite things was that action chase scene through the highway with these kind of like bumbling bikers. It was just very intense and a great action scene, but also very funny with just little simple things of trying to pass a gun off to your comrade, and it causes him to eat shit on the bike and die because of it. Normally in a movie, it'd be a cool guy grabbing the gun, steering the motorcycle with his foot and taking out a bunch of dudes, but it's like, nope, it just caused enough wobble for him to just eat it.
You know what we didn't talk about? Fuchs. Yeah. Fuchs is in jail.
Yeah.
And Barry's going to jail. You think they're going to the same jail? I don't know why my voice is getting so high.
Because it's interesting. That'll be interesting. Yeah, and if it is like an in jail season, you could have Fuchs getting his team together and
you see
pitch it, Steve.
You see the last thing you see of Fuchs is him going, I'm the Raven. So he's kind of embracing this. And I think that's obviously a survival tactic. It's like, oh, I'm going into prison. If I say I'm this head killer of this Chechen mob, people aren't probably going to fuck with me. And so he's going to establish a power dynamic very quickly in prison. And I just imagine like, oh, if Barry goes to the same prison, is it going to be Fuchs with his new army of prison dudes going after Barry, and Barry's going to have to kill these guys to survive? Yeah. Or is it kind of just like, oh, Fuchs has now made all these prison contacts, like, and Barry's, for whatever reason, like on the street, he's like, okay, I got people for you to kill, and otherwise I'm going to send these prison guys after Sally or Mr. Kuzno or whatever Fuchs wants to do. I think you can do some really interesting stuff there.
Yeah, you have a few episodes of them butting heads and then realizing, oh, I have this Aryan Nation gang leader who's going to kill Fuchs for whatever reason. Okay, Barry, you take this guy out, and then you have my safety, and I won't come after you, and then we'll be square. It kind of writes itself, but that's the thing with Barry. Every time I go, oh, okay, yeah, I see where this is going. No, it's not. It's not. It may go in the neighborhood, but it's on the other side of the street, and I wasn't looking both ways. What am I talking about?
But if you look at something like Breaking Bad, where you have a character who's a nice person and the show is a slow progression of just like, oh, him becoming the worst person, it's interesting to see a character like Barry, who is clearly not a good person, who from the get-go is like, oh, he's essentially a serial killer. He's just kind of a nice, charming serial killer. So like he's
not doing it for bloodlust.
Yeah, but you're rooting for him in a sense. But this season, I have not been rooting for Barry at all. Like he was. The first few episodes of the season was almost hard to watch.
He's an absolute psycho.
He's just terrifying, scary, psycho nut job.
Yeah.
And then it still carried all the way through, but
sure,
he got a little bit more sympathetic, I guess, towards the end. But I don't want to say I'm rooting for Barry. I can't see the show ending anyway, other than like Barry needs to get his comeuppance in some sort of way.
But it's hard for
Fuchs does too.
And it's hard. Like, you want them to get their just desserts, but you don't. Like, I don't want Barry to die. I don't want anything like malicious to happen to him. But he does need to pay. So I don't know how you write that, because he does deserve to die. But I don't want to see that for the character. But he doesn't get to get off scot-free. So I don't know what you do.
What's the worst possible thing for an actor? Because maybe that's kind of his hell. It's just like, oh, I wanted to be an actor, but now I'm this thing that I hate, or like this is my actor hell.
Yeah, and it'd be one thing if he was such a like, he wanted to be an actor so bad that he wanted the notoriety and he wanted the fame. He was never that. He just kind of wanted to find something besides killing. But if he was more of this bigger ego, I could see it like, oh, well, he does get his fame. He gets the notoriety that he always wanted, but it's for the thing he wanted to get away from instead of moving on to the acting thing. But since that's not really his character, I don't know.
What if he gets a big... It's not like he gets famous or anything, but he books a big role. He's like, oh, I'm finally going to live my dream. I'm going to be a big hotshot guy or whatever. This is my shot. And then it kind of does the Jason Lee thing where like there's an accident and he just gets killed like on set on his like first day or something with a prop gun. Or like Mr. Kuzno switches it out with a real gun or something. So it's like Barry kind of gets assassinated, but you know, on the when he thinks he's like reached his happiness.
That's good. I mean, I don't think they would do that because something similar kind of happened, you know, with Alec Baldwin when he shot that woman with a prop gun because the prop master wasn't good.
I understand that, but that's why it works, because like that shit does happen.
Damn. That sucks. Did you see? I'm gonna cut this, but did you see the video of them telling Alec Baldwin that lady died?
I know it exists. I didn't watch it.
It's sad. It's hard. It's not like he screams and is crying or anything, but like you could just see like the, oh my god, I can't believe I did that.
I killed a person.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with Barry.
Who released that? Why was that released?
Oh, I mean, it looked like it was inside someone's home or an office, so it's like you just have cameras and then someone takes it from security. It's the friend of a friend of a friend, and it gets released to TMZ. Who knows? Yeah.
Once again, we can call it. So at work, the big thing that everyone's talking about, I'm so fucking tired of hearing about, is like the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial.
It's been a week. It's done. Move on.
But it's just like, I don't care about either of those people. Yeah. And the fact that everyone is so fucking invested in this story, I just don't care. And then I was at my sister's barbecue. My wife read the Will Smith book, and because they were just talking about books, and she was just like, I read the Will Smith book. It was really interesting. I enjoyed it. And they're just like, and then they're just like, I don't know how I feel about Will Smith after that whole Oscars thing. It's just like, who fucking cares about the Oscar thing? Yeah. It's like people are still talking about that, and I don't know. I'm just tired about celebrity news drama. It's like, why is that important? Go report on anything else.
Yeah, I know people who have been so invested with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. It's not a soap opera. It's not this scripted thing that you could go, oh my god, what great storytelling. This is like shitty things that happen to people and shitty people doing shitty things to other shitty people. It's just, it's not there for your entertainment.
And it's just crazy that that's televised. Why was that televised? Why didn't it need to be televised?
It didn't, but the judge knew, like, there's notoriety. You get televised and you become the judge of that big case, and maybe you get a book out of it, maybe you get late night showings.
I just don't think courts should do that. It's either you record and you can post all of them to the court website, or you post none of them.
Yeah, record them. That's great to have records of that, but you don't need to be airing this shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean, airing it to the public.
Yeah.
I think it's absurd.
I mean, if everybody in the trial agreed and they're like, hey, yeah, you can play this, but I get money for it. If I had a court thing and it's like, I know I'm gonna lose some money in this settlement, okay, I give you the rights to air this, but I get some of that money. Maybe that exists. I don't know, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works. And I'm not taking some sort of high road. Just like, well, why don't we report on climate change or whatever? Because I don't fucking know shit about climate change. Really, it's like,
you don't.
it's like I can't sit here and be like, well, report on something important. It's like, well, what? And well, how about we talk about this? It's like, all right, tell me about it. It's like, well, I can't.
No. You report on it.
And I understand, like, that's essentially the problem. It's like, we can all have an opinion on, like, if Johnny Depp or Amber Heard is a piece of shit, or like, but yeah, it's so interesting that these beautiful, smart, talented people are going through this crazy thing. It's just like, but it doesn't really matter. No. It's not as important as so many other things. But it's like, other things aren't sexy. This is.
That's true. It's the same as why people like, the Real Housewives or the Kardashians and that sort of, like, looking on the other side of the ultra powerful, ultra rich, ultra beautiful people. And it's like,
fuck them.
They're just like us.
Fuck them.
Yeah. So we should get to our main topic.
This is going off the rails. I just haven't seen you, so I want to talk to you about stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
All right, let's get to our main topic. Jurassic World Dominion.
Directed by Colin Trevorrow.
Which I don't think I realized that.
I didn't realize until I saw the credits.
Because he didn't do the second one.
No.
And so I figured he wasn't coming back for the third one as well. Mm-hmm. But he did. And I wouldn't say it's like a poorly directed movie.
No.
But I would say that there's really not a movie here when it comes to story or characters. It's more of just beats with dinosaurs.
So we kind of just really jumped ahead. So you didn't care for it is what I'm getting.
No, this movie sucks. This is a bad movie.
Yeah, I didn't like this movie as well.
I couldn't believe that I would dislike it more than the last one. Mm-hmm. And I kind of go back and forth on that because at least this one has a lot of dinosaurs. And as a fan of dinosaurs, I like to see...
And a variety of them.
Yeah, I finally got to see my very last dinosaur that I've been waiting for Jurassic Park. It was when they're in the caves and there's those short ones with the big fins on their back. I had a bunch of toys of those and I thought they were so cool.
Yeah.
And they just haven't been in anything. And maybe they're in the Lost World in the background somewhere on a hill.
Sure.
But they actually got a little action sequence. And it was maybe my favorite action sequence of the whole thing. It was scary.
It was kind of scary,
It kind of worked. Because I wasn't sure what it was. And I was like, oh, it's those guys. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Here, I don't really remember the second one. I remember kind of like the scene of the island being destroyed.
That's
and that was
the first
kind of
half.
Yeah, and that was kind of cool. And I remember there's a super raptor at the end in a mansion.
The Indoraptor, yeah.
But I forgot that the whole subplot of that was the
clone girl?
The little clone girl, because
yeah.
when she showed up when they were doing the news report at the beginning, totally forgot. I thought that was going to be a new plot point in this one, because I totally forgot about it. And it was like, wasn't until like the movie went on, they were talking about it, and it's like, oh, that's right. She was
a clone of...
Yeah. So I've totally forgotten Fallen Kingdom.
It's a very forgettable movie.
Yeah, so here's this new one, and I okay, let's just get into it.
Okay.
So, I didn't expect the main villain of this movie to just be big old bugs. For one, those things are terrifying.
Yeah, that's
2,
very gross.
disgusting.
Yeah.
3, why?
Why?
Yeah.
You already have a genetically modified creature built into this franchise. Why do you have to make locusts? And that's the problem with this movie is there's no real story. It's just, oh, we made this thing. It's going to eat the crops. Our crops will survive. But now it's spreading and it's getting out of control.
Yeah, it's like, shouldn't the crux of this movie have been like, oh, at the end of 2, dinosaurs are now in the world.
Yeah.
And then in this one's like, how are we as humans dealing with that? And there's a little bit of it, but they're not the problem.
No.
It's like, yeah, there's T-Rexes around, but they're not really causing that much trouble. You know what's causing trouble? Big old locusts.
Uh-huh.
It's like, who fucking cares?
Yeah, and that's why I'm so angry at this movie is they promised, well, this is what we've been building to this whole time. Dinosaurs in the real world. Awesome. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. Our first promo for this movie was dinosaurs attacking a campsite. Really cool little short. Awesome. Then we see in other promos the T-Rex at a movie theater, a drive-in movie theater. Also, not in this movie. That's cool. I want to see more of that. What do? We go back to another essential park. We go to an enclosed area of wildlife where all the dinosaurs are, and we have a facility. We're just doing another park and facility again. That is, and I wasn't super into this movie at the beginning, but them rescuing that little Triceratops thing, I thought we'd get more of that. And there's the big chase, and then
By the way, I have a pitch for how I would have done this movie, but we'll get to it later.
Absolutely. I have some ideas as well.
And I mean, as a pitch, I kind of like only had like 2 scenes, and I'm just gonna work my way through it because I really don't have. I haven't come up with it quite yet, but I have enough to where I go like, I can make this into something.
Okay. Yeah, and I got stuff too. So,
okay. Great. So
let's start with, what is the story? I know we talked about the locust, but from the character's perspective, pick a character and just like kind of tell me what the story is.
All right, well, I guess we'll start with the main star, Chris Pratt, Owen Grady. He is now the protector of
Little clone
Maisie.
Girl. Okay, sure.
Maisie.
You say so.
Maisie, little clone girl. Him and Bryce Dallas Howard's character, they are just kind of keeping her in the woods and looking out for her. And
4 years has been.
4 years have passed, so dinosaurs have been interacting with humans for some time now. And men have come to kidnap the raptor and her, so he promises his raptor friend Blue from the past 2 movies that he's going to get her kid back.
He made a promise to a dinosaur.
He made a promise to a dinosaur, and they kind of even make a joke about that and how silly that is. And so their mission is to rescue these 2 and bring them back home.
Yep.
So that's that story.
Pretty much is just
that's the A story.
That's the A story. Save a girl.
Yep.
Not from the dinosaurs either. From bad poacher
And
people.
then we have the return of Dr. Alan Grant and
Ellie Sattler and Ian Malcolm. Our legacy characters.
The B storyline for them is to infiltrate a science lab that keeps giant locust DNA so they can have proof that
they're doing shady shit. And
Biosyn, the company, is doing shady stuff and genetically engineering these locusts to kind of wipe out the human food supply for nefarious reasons.
Yeah,
for money.
Yeah, it's
capitalism is always the villain in these movies.
Yeah, we control everything. Yeah, those are the basic stories, but not any character really has an arc.
Nope.
Both Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt, they've kind of like, their story is ended in between movies.
Yeah.
They're not bickering anymore. They're in a relationship. They're raising this kid. They're laying low. Their story's done. So they don't need a new arc for this. So they're just there to save the kid and be in dinosaur situations. And then when it comes to our legacy characters, you have kind of a fake manufactured arc for Ian Malcolm. And it's like, oh, look, he's working with the bad guys. But it's, he's just infiltrating so he can prove himself right and help.
He's not really even infiltrating. He was just hired there and then I think figured out, well, you find out the one character told him they're doing shady stuff here. He's like, okay, I'm going to help. I'm going to contact my friends who are going to help me.
But it's not
like he went in there to try and do espionage.
For sure. But it's like he would always do the right thing in that sort of situation.
Sure.
So he didn't change at all. Both Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler, they're just there.
I mean, you give them the arc of will they finally kiss? Yeah.
And it's like, who cares? We've already established by part 3 they don't end up together. That's not their that wasn't the crux of who they were. They were like best friends because of the work that they do, and it's not about this 30-year boner that Alan Grant has had for her.
Yeah, I mean, in the first one, you have like hints of I don't want to say jealousy, but it's like
it's flirtatious.
But clearly, Jeff Goldblum's character is flirting with Laura Linney's, not Laura Dern.
Laura
Sorry,
Dern.
God, I always get them mixed up. I'm sorry.
They could play siblings.
Yeah, and you can tell Grant is kind of just. It's not so much like, oh, I can't believe this guy is hitting on a girl. It's kind of like, oh, I can't believe this move. Like, this is the move he's trying to do, kind of thing. It's like, this guy is clearly a douchebag, and Alan Grant doesn't want to deal with any of these humans. So I never really bought that he like wanted to be with her all that much.
But it was like he was protective of her. He was like, oh, so is she seeing anyone? And he's kind of like, yeah, like kind of seeing me. And it's never established that they are really together.
Right.
So it just seems like he's like, well, if she can't be mine, then no one's going to have her. He's like some friend zone incel or something.
I mean, I just like the idea of, adults, especially who are not coworkers, but kind of just men and women who can just be friends, and not have them have some forced romance.
Yep.
Because it's just like, what are we going to make them do? I don't know. Have them kiss after all these years. But it's like, were any of us really rooting for that?
Yeah, I know.
Because it's not like they've only really been, until this, 2 movies together. And in the third one, they were in the movie together, but they weren't even on the same continent.
Yeah.
She was back home at her house with her kids, with her husband, and he just like calls her one time.
Yep.
And that's it.
And that's it, yeah.
So it's not like it's been something that we've been aching for 30 years. Ridiculous.
So it's just a complete waste to bring back these legacy characters just because it's this is the final one in this trilogy. We kind of have to, because that's what you do. We're seeing it time and time again about legacy characters in legacy movies.
And this is the kind of thing that they always kind of tried to pull in James Cameron for with the Terminator. It's like, well, now that James Cameron's producing, it must be good because he wouldn't sign on to something terrible. Yep. It's like, you're I feel like that was the thing they used to do, where it's like, oh, we're bringing back legacy characters. They wouldn't come back unless it was good. Where like now everyone knows, just like, we know.
It's just a paycheck.
It's just a paycheck.
Yeah. And did you see that like Neve Campbell is not going to be in Scream 6 because they weren't going to give her enough money? She's like I'm pretty important to this sort of story, and you're only wanting to give me this? Nah, I'll walk. You could do your movie without me.
Yeah. So
good on her.
Unless you can do some Top Gun Maverick stuff, don't come back, legacy character.
Yeah.
I know you guys like money, and I can't really blame you. If I was an actor and they're like, we're going to pay you $2 million to come be in this piece of shit, I'd be like, great. I'll be there at 5.
And especially if you say you are Jeff Goldblum and you're like, oh no, this script sucks, I don't want to be a part of it. Well, you're now 2 legacy characters are back, but not the third. You're kind of throwing shade on them and the movie itself, and people are going to be very forgiving of him anyways, even if it does suck. They're not going to blame him. So it's like, of course, why don't you come back regardless of how good the movie is? Because it's a paycheck and people will go, yay, he's there, regardless of how pointless it is. They'll just still cheer that you're on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I can see people kind of giving crap to Laura Dern and Sam Neill because it's not like they're super big household names, where it's just like, and it's not like Jeff Goldblum has a big filmography where people are just like, man, I love his movies, so if he does crap,
big.
No, I know he does, but I'm saying like, I don't think most people can list 5 classic Jeff Goldblum films. Like, it's not like he's Tom Cruise where he has a career where it's just like, oh, Jeff Goldblum always knocks it out of the park. It's just like everyone just likes Jeff Goldblum because he's Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
He's just an eccentric kind of weirdo that so it's just like, even if he's in crap, no one cares because like, I just like Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
But they're not like, I need to go see the next Jeff Goldblum film.
True. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Like I like watching him in interviews and being on Hot Ones and stuff because he's just a fun guy. Oh, and he made a stupid movie?
So I think
because he's fun.
I think he could have gotten away with not being in it.
Probably, yeah.
Or him being in it and the other 2 not being in it. And either way, he would have been fine.
Yeah, probably. So it's been 29 years
almost to the day since the original Jurassic Park release. For this release, it was one day or before, one day after. 29 years it's been since the first Jurassic Park. And
I was 3 years old when the first one came out.
so we got, like, if you average it, we got like a new Jurassic Park every 5 years, and that's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. Jurassic Park was kind of important for me because I was 12, 13 years old when it came out. I was a big dinosaur kid. I wasn't great with the names or anything, but I just had a lot of toys and posters, and just dinosaurs were cool. I was one of those kids. So Jurassic Park was mind-blowing. Like, I could not believe I saw dinosaurs on screen. But now special effects are so commonplace, and we use them in everything, even just in, like, comedies to fix things in the background. Like, you can do anything with special effects now, so it's not as impressive. There's no real shot in this movie that's like the awe and wonder of this thing. It's just like, yep, that's a dinosaur, and look, it's doing dinosaur things.
I mean, I think there's some great shots at the end. I think there's some good shots of the dinosaurs. But you're right. I don't think there's, like, the classic T-Rex shot and the banner falling behind it. I think that's just a difference in director. But I think there is some beautiful-esque shots in it, but they're just wasted. They're not to enhance the story or anything. But back to being a big fan of dinosaurs. I saw Jurassic Park probably when I was 10, 11 years old. I just remember it was the first time a movie had inspired me to do something, I feel like. I mean, obviously when you're a kid and you watch like Ninja Turtles or or just something, you might go like, oh, I want to be like a kung fu master, or like you watch a basketball movie, it's like, oh, I want to go shoot hoops with my friends. Yeah. But this was the first one where I was just like, oh, Jurassic Park was so important to me at the time, where I was like, I want to grow up to be a paleontologist.
Oh.
That was the first real job I imagined myself having, because I just wanted to work with dinosaurs. It's like, that'd be the coolest thing. And then I realized that there's a ton of schooling involved, and you're just digging up old bones in the desert, and I was like, I don't want to be in the fucking desert all day. But I've always been fascinated by dinosaurs in the same way, and the first Jurassic Park was really influential to me, not only my love of film, but in changing how I thought about stuff. So to see this franchise become what it is, it just kind of hurts a little bit.
It does. So a little dinosaur talk. What was your favorite dinosaur growing up?
Probably. It kind of depended on the mood you were in, because like T-Rex was always kind of cool, but I was always a Triceratops guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I like Triceratops. I always like Triceratops and Stegosaurus. I always made them with my toys like really aggressive, because it's like, you got the cool spikes on your head. You should be gouging T-Rexes. And, like, I always imagine, like, the Stegosaurus running under a Brontosaurus and just, like, using its spikes on its back to, like, cut its guts open. And I always made them, like, really aggressive, because it was also, like, Power Rangers were part of my childhood, too.
I mean, I think my favorite animal is probably a rhino, and a Triceratops is just a bigger rhino with extra steps. Yeah. It's got one horn, but Triceratops, they have three.
Yeah. I always liked any sort of the flying. I like pterodactyls, but the Ankylosaurus was always my favorite. It's just like that tail with the huge ball at the end, armor plated, spiked. It just
they're definitely the
cool.
coolest looking one.
And it bugged me. And I'll going back to Power Rangers, I always wanted that to be one of the Zords, and it would be like, a shield and a hammer. It would turn into a weapon, because it would be the strongest of all the Zords, and it would be the Orange Ranger. Just FYI.
Of course. Because you can have like a brown ranger.
Because
it's not an exciting color.
Yeah, the only other ones that we haven't seen is like brown and purple. And they've used orange and purple in later seasons and stuff, but they weren't one of the main ones. And so I always imagined like a trio of purple, brown, and orange Power Rangers that were kind of like the weird outcasts. And so
they'd have like a mini Zord, maybe.
It would be like three things that would make.
They're just the other weapons.
They would be other weapons. When they eventually turn good and go to the Megazord, they become weapons, right. But they can be together to be a smaller, faster Zord. So orange was the Ankylosaurus, and I think I made purple a duckbill platypus, it was something like that. Or the ones with the longer back horn that kind of look like duckbill. That it's just Or and then the brown one would be the one with the chrome domes, that ram.
Oh,
things.
Those ones are cool. Yeah.
So I could probably think of a better one for the duckbill, because that's not very weapony. Where the battering ram and the Ankylosaurus is. Oh, I guess Stegosaurus.
Because the Stegosaurus was never a...
Yeah, Stegosaurus. is
Okay,
one.
so Stegosaurus, battering ram guy, and Ankylosaurus. Those are my 3 Power Rangers.
I like it.
Cool. Let's write that story.
back to the movie. Okay, so we talked about story a little bit. We might get back into it, but let's talk about characters again.
Okay.
We got some new characters in this movie.
We did.
First off, we have the villain, your corporate
Bad
guy character, who I thought sounded so weird in this movie.
He was a weird actor.
And I know I've seen him in something. But it just seemed like his voice was like almost dubbed or like off something. To me, it sounded so weird. It almost seemed like this is just maybe a me thing.
Yeah.
Because my wife was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's just like when I looked at that guy talking, I was like, that doesn't sound. Something sounds off. Anyway, I have forgotten this character's name.
His name's Dotson.
Dotson. Yeah, thank you.
From the first movie. Dotson. We got Dotson here. The guy who gives him the shaving cream. That's supposed to be him. But it's recast because that guy ended up being like a pervert, like a pedophile.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the original one.
Well, glad I knew that.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you noticed when he dies at the end and he like drops his case. The shaving cream.
Well, yeah, I mean, you
out.
see him grab the shaving cream in the office.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's right. But
I just thought that was like a collector's item that he had acquired because it's just like, oh, this is from the original park thing.
How did anybody get that? It got covered in mud. Why would he have found it?
References, Ben. That's all
I know,
it's about.
and that's all it is. It's just references.
Yeah, I hated that character. It did nothing. It was just another corporate bad guy, and boring. He didn't have any real personality to me. There was a lot of scenes where he was talking to people and it was so awkward, and I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be played as like funny or if it's just like, oh, this kind of mentioning of like other kind of tech types who just don't interact well socially, but it never like really went anywhere with that.
But he definitely was weird around.
Yeah, and I didn't like that character. I wanted a more interesting villain. And we had Kayla or Kyra, whatever her...
The
pilot? Yep.
Sure.
And I didn't hate her character. I think she fit in with the group well. My problem was like, why the fuck was she there?
She had the plane. You need the pilot.
Like, you just saw her see a little... And it's like, I can get behind the idea. It's just like, maybe you thought she was like getting sex trafficked or something. And you're like, I gotta help or something.
Yeah, but she looked the other way.
But she just looked the other way and then just started helping. And they even commented in the movie where it's just like, why are you helping 2 strangers? And she's like, I don't even remember what she said. It was just,
I'm the pilot.
It's just, I'm helping because the plot said I had to.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do. You know, I didn't act earlier when I...
And I should have, yeah.
Something dumb.
Yeah, and then you just get sucked into this whole plot. I don't know.
Yeah, and...
Like, this movie made me so angry. Just in terms of, I rolled my eyes a bunch. I didn't like any of the characters, even the characters who have been established. I mean, I like Chris Pratt. I got nothing against Chris Pratt, and I understand people being upset with like him being cast as Orange. Well, whatever, I don't care. He seems like a nice enough guy. My problem is, it feels like he really wants to establish himself as, you know, his 80s icon action heroes by doing these movies, and it just comes off as like trying too hard to be like cool and badass. Like that scene, I know we're jumping all over the place. That scene where he the Dilophosaurus that shoot ink?
Dilophosaurus,
yeah. And he just kind of like grabs it by the neck and is like choking it out, and then it gets just so, it made me so angry. Just like, it's like, oh, where you fucking going, man? And just, it's so dumb.
I wish he choke slammed him or something.
Something. I don't know. It just seemed so silly. I don't know. I just don't.
And, okay, let's talk about...
I can't anymore. I can't.
Bryce Dallas Howard, okay?
Yep.
Is she just over it? Because she didn't really do much acting. There is a scene where she's running away from this long-fingered, you know, the spiky-fingered, long-necked guy.
I really like that dinosaur. That thing was cool.
It was cool. I didn't know... And this is a movie that has a lot of big dumb dinosaur names, like, you know, Gigantosaur or something. It was the other one. Sure. Or like Gigasaur. Dumb. And it has an odd name as well.
but I couldn't remember it, so I was just calling it salad fingers. Not that he looks like it in his face, but those long
he's got
fingers
salad
in
fingers
front.
for sure.
So it's like it's stalking her, and she's crawling away, and the camera's right on her face, and her expression is just like, huh? There's no terror, there's no fear, there's no adrenaline of trying to get away. It's just blank. And they do it a couple of times where they focus on her face as she's in peril because there's this huge dinosaur in front of her, and her face is just like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, of all the actors in these movies, I honestly think she's the best one.
Okay.
I think, and from other stuff I've seen her in, she's a very talented actress. And I know it's hard to act a lot of times to nothing.
Sure.
Because these things obviously aren't really there. But I would not be surprised if she's like, yeah, I'm done with this franchise. This is my last one. Like, I can't wait for this to be over. And I mean, they give her some, like, you know, tears coming down, which I've seen her do, like, on talk shows where she's like, yeah, I can cry on cue. Like, she's very good.
Mm-hmm.
But my problem with that scene is I think, like, that shot where she's crawling and you see the fingers, like, right behind her, I think it's a very effective, scary shot. Because, like, if I saw that thing, that'd be terrifying. Because why does this thing exist?
Yeah.
My problem with that scene is, and multiple scenes throughout this movie, is these dinosaurs take so long to attack the heroes, but will instantly attack everyone else.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for them to do that. And that's what's frustrating. It's just multiple scenes where it's just like, whoa, hang on, back up. And it's not like it's, you don't stand there and tell me, and it's like, oh, well, they know they can't move too much or the dinosaurs won't attack. It's like other people aren't doing that stuff either.
Yeah.
It's just like they attack instantly when you just need to get a kill off. But when it comes to the heroes, they gotta like slowly
stalk
and just like stare at them for a little bit before they like.
Yeah. They jump, but then they close the gate and everything. But if you're passing by on a moped, that T-Rex is eating you instantly.
Which is, you know, fine. You do it once or twice, but I just felt like if you told me this movie did it 12 times, it'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. I believe that. Because there's no reason why that dinosaur with the salad fingers is just like slow stalking the entire time and sees it go into the water.
I think it had a messed up eye. I think it was kind of like blind.
Was that
maybe
the justification?
I think because why would it go so slow? See it go in the water and then just scream right above it and then fuck off. It would like start pecking at the water, trying to go at it. I think there was a vision thing there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Were there any dinosaurs you liked? Because there's like 30 new dinosaurs in this, or 30 dinosaurs total. They crammed every dinosaur that they didn't get to use in any other movie. And it almost seemed like there was like, I know they exist, and I think they've been in another one, but ones that they're like baby pterodactyls, but have like T-Rex heads,
I noticed.
and they're kind of fuzzy, and it almost seemed like, we only got 23 dinosaurs here, start making new dinosaurs. I got this baby T-Rex head.
It seemed like they have the Chrombopulus Michael or whatever, not the Chrombopulus, what's the thing from Star Wars.
Salacious Crumb.
Salacious Crumb, thank you.
Chrombopulus Michael's from Rick and Morty.
Yeah. I know I had it wrong. Salacious Crumb. It's just like they had that doll, but they're just like, all right, we'll put something else. We'll put a T-Rex head on it. Yeah. Just kind of see what it looked like.
Slap some wings on it. No, that doesn't work. Give it a long tail and some spikes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Throw it out there.
No, I mean, that's one of the few compliments I will give this movie. I liked all the dinosaurs. I think essentially a lot of them were like T-Rex or Raptor adjacent, but it's like, this is a Raptor with feathers, but I think that one was cool, and I didn't expect that dinosaur to like dive into the water and stuff, and I just thought there was a different way to do it.
There's a lot of cool looking dinosaurs, but there's not a lot of cool dinosaur scenes.
No. I'll talk about some positives. I enjoyed the Malta stuff. It was weird because as they were walking through that like underground black market dinosaur thing, it was like
their
this
cantina scene.
The cantinas, it just felt like I was like, this is a Star Wars movie right now. This is them on Tatooine, and they're going, and you're seing all the weird aliens hanging out.
They should have had one trained to like play the piano or horns like a seal.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of an action sequence, like Chris Pratt on the motorcycle going through the streets with the raptors chasing him, I thought was fun. Like we've seen raptor chases there's
a raptor chase in like every single
all
one.
of them, but I like that this one. I like that it was set in a city because we've seen them run through the jungle a bunch of times,
and that's what we've been promised. That we needed more of that.
So I think that's why I liked this sequence a lot, and like seeing those escaped, not T-Rexes, but T-Rex adjacent
Allosaur.
Sure,
yeah, the ones that they look like T-Rexes, but with like
them
sunburns.
attacking citizens. Like I thought that was a fun little bit. I liked all of that. And probably my favorite moment in the entire movie is, although I hate the locusts and I hated them just being on fire and flying away, them falling into like a meteor shower kind of thing, I was like, that is a great scene.
That's good imagery.
Good imagery that I think was really underplayed.
Yeah.
And because like if you comment, it's like, it's a meteor shower, you'd be like, well, it'd just be a little too on the nose, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I just thought it was a really great visual and really cool effect to do that. It's like, oh, there's dinosaurs and here's this like sort of mini meteor shower kind of thing. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was one of the better scenes.
Yeah, but every other action scene other than like those two, did not care.
Yeah, like when they were trying to get into the big metal tree house, and here comes
that was so weirdly edited.
Yeah, it was like tensionless, and it was like, hurry, get up the ladder, and you see everybody get up the ladder one by one, and it's like, I thought the thing was like 3 feet away, and they're all just like able to get up. And
but not only that, but it's like you don't even see everyone get up the ladder. You see like the first two get up the ladder, and then it like cuts back to the dinosaur who like ripped off the cage, and then it cuts back, and Bryce Dallas Howard is already up the top. You didn't even see her touch the ladder. I think. It's like, when did she get up there?
Yeah,
because like at this point, like everyone has climbed up except for Chris Pratt's character, I think, or something. It's just that whole sequence was so strange.
Bad. But I really like that idea of the metal tree house, and I think that could have been incorporated with maybe like a pitch that we will have like these safe havens out in the woods. Oh, if there's a dinosaur attack, this is where you can go to be safe. But they don't do anything with it. They're all eye level now with this dinosaur, and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. It's just like once it can't get to him, then it's like, or it gets kind of shocked in the eye. It's like, all right, I guess. All
right, I'm done.
It's not worth it.
There is one dinosaur I liked. I liked the baby raptor. There was something kind of cute with the baby raptor.
The Blues Kid?
Yeah, Blues Kid. Beta. Yeah. It's just very cute. It's like the baby T-Rex in Lost World. It's just adorable, and I like seeing it.
Kind of nuzzled on his shoulder. Yeah, like a little cat.
Is that a dinosaur on your back? Yeah, what of it?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I like seeing dinosaurs, but none of them really do anything that make me go like. It's crazy that I think the iconic, memorable scene is that fake meteor shower with the locusts, and a locust scene shouldn't be a main scene of your dinosaur movie. That shouldn't be the memorable standout scene.
Yeah, I mean, if they were just something that existed, I'd be fine with it. It's like, oh, we brought back not only dinosaurs but like insects of that time, and so now there's these giant bugs. Because honestly, that'd be more terrifying as just these giant ass locusts that can get into your house versus a T-Rex. Because like you can see a T-Rex coming, and
you could hear it.
You could hear like they're. I imagine like they wouldn't really be that big of an issue, but if there's just like millions of these giant locust bugs, that's scary as shit. So, but I don't want to see a movie about giant locusts.
Yeah,
it's like you could have just saw them on land or like attack someone's face and be like, and that would be the end of it. But for them to be like the main plot point in this movie was just absurd.
Yeah.
Another thing, we've jumped 4 years and dinosaurs somewhat coexist with humans. And that's fine, but the idea that there's these carnivore like raptors and T-Rexes and stuff that are all in the wild, and it took them 3 years to catch a T-Rex. First off, where would that thing be fucking hiding?
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, well, it's just real hard to catch because it's so big. Like, how you gonna? It's like, no, it'd be the easiest thing to catch.
Yeah,
because worst case scenario, you just shoot the thing. Like. That's what we have militaries for.
Yeah.
If dinosaurs were in America, this would be the one time where everyone having a gun is justified, I think. Because, everyone suit up, we're all going hunting, and we're taking this out before it's a problem. Because we can't have T-Rexes and these big things bigger than... I mean, obviously, there's lions and stuff, but they know not to
come to
evolution
America.
has created a sense of, like, they're probably not going to mess with you.
Yeah.
But, like... dinosaurs in the wild, they don't know any better. They're gonna hunt, and guess what? They can eat you.
And when the news gets out that all these dinosaurs left this mansion in the United States, I think the military could have rolled up with some tanks and taken care of it in a week.
Yeah, there would have been
because
no issue.
And this will be part of like pitches later. But if it was a thing where since they're genetically modified, and they do touch on this a little bit with Blue reproducing asexually.
Yep.
If they all did that and it was more rapid, like
oh, normally a dinosaur has a child once every 3 years because of whatever the life cycle, but they're actually having kids every 4 months, and they're growing fast. And the dinosaur population has gotten out of control because we thought there was 2 T-Rexes, now there's 17, and it just is going, and now it's a big problem. But it's like, nope, there was like 50 dinosaurs in the mansion.
We've established that, dinosaurs are actually descendants of birds are descendants of dinosaurs. It's like, okay, so it's like a chicken thing. Like, they lay an egg every day. Like, I'm okay with the idea that these dinosaurs are producing super fast, and the fact that it's 4 years later that they be around. But it's like, they escaped from that facility. People know that they escaped from that facility. It's like, Chris Pratt just needed to get on the phone and be like, hey, I used to be in the military guys, just so you know, there's like 12 dinosaurs that have escaped, or however many escaped. We should probably take care of this.
Yeah.
There's
And even if he
government
doesn't,
system set in place for, like, obviously, I don't know if anyone's preparing for dinosaurs, but I don't think it would be an issue.
the moment a brontosaurus comes walking through a major city and starts causing destruction, or a pterodactyl takes down an airplane,
or swoops up a kid from a park,
exactly.
you know?
The military is out there, and it's open season on dinosaurs every day. The morals of they didn't ask to be here or anything, that all goes out the window. And they would just be open season to kill all dinosaurs because they are a major threat. And that's where we were going. War against dinosaurs, and you have people who are riding dinosaurs. I want dino riders. That's what we're moving to. But I think it would be fun. Like, you have the police chasing these raptors through a city street, and it's like, that's scary. Okay, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Save it.
Let's see. Hold on. I wanted to talk about a specific thing. Let me get my notes back up. Okay, so speaking of dinosaurs, are the dinosaurs the villains, or are we supposed to be sympathetic to them? Because they have this whole question of, well, they didn't ask to be cloned, they're out of time, they don't belong here, do we have the right to just murder them now? But they're also the big things that are killing people. So I'm not sure what side are we supposed to be on. Do we hate the big ones with sharp teeth that eat people, but we're okay with the fast running ones that just eat plants? Because I feel like they're either all the villain or they're not. Because they're all just kind of out of time, just doing dinosaur things. You can't blame
They're
a
literally
raptor.
out of time.
Yeah, you can't blame a raptor for killing a person and then think like, oh well, the Stegosaurus is cool because it's not really hurting anything.
Yeah, that's another thing that I think they tried to touch on, but didn't really, with that, like, news report in the beginning about their place in the world, and then at the end you have this whole, like, speech about coexistence, and then you have these shots of, like, other pterodactyls taking off, and then a bunch of birds behind them, and the one dinosaurs with the pointy piece in the back, like running with horses and everything. And just like, I like that imagery and I like that concept, but it didn't go anywhere. No. And it's just like, okay, so is the plan to let dinosaurs live or not? Because all evidence points to no, kill all of these things. Because you've established through 6 movies at this point that dinosaurs, when unchecked, will cause a bunch of destruction.
They are very dangerous.
Defend themselves violently. So yeah, there's tons of evidence to kill them from Jurassic Park, from Jurassic World, and all that other stuff. It's just like so many people have died at this point because of dinosaurs. They've lost all chances too, and it's like, well, now and at the very end it's like, well, and now all of the dinosaurs have been wrangled into that sanctuary in Italy. Why? Kill them. Go there immediately. Wipe them out. If they're all there, give it
carpet bomb them.
That's the one thing that was cool about Fallen Kingdom. Is just like, okay, we need to get rid of all these dinosaurs, bomb them out, and they almost killed all the dinosaurs. And that was like,
but that was a volcano erupting. They weren't dropping bombs to kill the dinosaurs.
That's true.
That was a thing of, do we let the volcano do its thing because it is nature, but we put them there? Don't they have a chance to live? Or, well, we created them. We actually get to control them. So,
but and
they never answer that question. And it's always in all these movies. It's just like, what's right? What's justifiable? I don't know. Who cares? Dinosaurs
and that's the big problem with Chris Pratt's character. It's like, okay, so he trained raptors for the park. There's entertainment value there. They're controlled. They're in their cages, essentially. I can kind of get behind that character. him going, well, they're out in the wild. I raised Blue. Blue's, you're my boy, Blue. But it's like, it's just unchecked in the wild, and it's like, and there's a line where it's like, what's stopping Blue from, is Blue gonna hurt us or whatever? Or Blue wouldn't hurt us, right? And he's like, Blue would absolutely hurt us.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, then kill Blue.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to keep Blue around.
It's like when alligators or when crocodiles. No, it's alligator. I guess it's probably both. When alligators kill humans, they kill that animal because now that it has a taste for human flesh, it sees it as an option. If it never eats a human, they generally don't go after humans. So, but we do that. We fucking killed Harambe because a baby got too close to it, even though it wasn't, attacking the kid. So it's like, yeah, this dinosaur that has been proven to be violent doesn't get a pass because we created it. If anything, it's a genetic mistake, and you need to wipe it out.
And it's not even necessarily it's a violent animal. It's also the one that we've established through multiple movies is one of the smartest creatures on the planet next to humans. Like, it has hunting, pack tactics, and all this other stuff. So it's like, okay, not only is it dangerous, it's smart too. Kill this thing.
Yeah.
There is no reason whatsoever for Chris Pratt to keep this creature alive.
Yeah. Except for the feelings of, well, I did raise it, and it's,
sure, but if I now, obviously there is no laws established because dinosaurs didn't exist. At this point, there probably should be if we have established theme parks for them. I think there would be some sort of dinosaur act.
Yeah.
But if my dog viciously attacks my neighbor,
that dog's getting put down.
That dog's getting put down. Not because, and maybe I don't want to put it down. Obviously, I'll cry.
Yeah.
Maybe I think like it's a one-time scenario. But the police would come and they're like, okay, your dog is violent. You need to put this dog down.
Yeah.
And then you just have to. It's like, okay, this thing is... Blue is a serial killer at this point. Put that fucking dog down. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. Even though, I sympathize with the dinosaurs. Yeah, you didn't ask to be here. And it's a lot like, we breed animals just to be our food, and it sucks. They're raised in cages only to be killed. It's awful, but sorry, dinosaurs.
If I met scientists and they said, oh, well, we can bring dinosaurs back, we want to do a theme park or whatever, clearly we've seen Jurassic Park, we're not going to do what they did, I would say, don't bring dinosaurs back. They would, if they did it in secret and suddenly there's a theme park that has dinosaurs in it, would I go? 10,000%. Yeah. I'm going to go to
But if it's up to you whether they do it or not, you say no.
Yeah, if I have the button to choose whether dinosaurs come back or not, I'm pushing no every time.
Yeah.
If someone else pushed the button that said yes, I'm gonna go see those dinosaurs.
I'm gonna have to see those dinosaurs.
Yeah. Even though there has been movies that say if you go to that park, there's a chance the dinosaurs will eat you. I'm still gonna go.
I'm not gonna go opening day.
No.
I'm gonna let it go for a few years so they could iron out all the kinks.
I imagine it'll be the super rich that go first, and then after that kind of pool dries up, then maybe.
Well, Hammond did say to the lawyer in the first one, like, this is a place for everyone, and the lawyer said maybe we'll have a coupon day.
Yeah, I'll go on coupon day.
Yeah,
and then never go back. But yeah, that's one of the problems with this franchise. They don't know what to do with the dinosaurs. This movie is not good. It was cringy at times. It didn't make sense. Weirdly edited, bad characters who didn't really add much and didn't make much sense other than just be there.
Yeah.
Just across the board, bad. Now, is it unwatchable? No. Is the average audience member going to like it? Probably, or at least go like, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
But just from a story character standpoint, just unnecessary.
Complete wasted potential.
Yeah, and I was trying to think of like other dinosaur franchises. There is none.
No. You got dinosaurs. You have Dinosaur.
I mean, there's
Barney.
there's others. Yeah, there's been other stuff with dinosaurs in it, but it's not like
Carnosaur is probably the only other franchise. There's 3 Carnosaur, or maybe there's 4 Carnosaur movies.
I don't even know what that is.
It's Jurassic Park came out, so Canon said we need our own dinosaur movie. So you have like a puppet in forced perspective. It's like a hand puppet,
my
but
God.
There's a crane in the background, and it's like, look how big it is.
Yeah, I'd like to see this franchise die and do other stuff with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Just
Jurassic Universe.
Dinosaurs in
space,
space,
baby.
Yeah. But see, like, I could get behind that if they made a dinosaur park in space.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, it has no effect on humans, and then it's like, I'm not
Then
even.
it falls to Earth, and the ozone layer created radiation, and now there's super dinosaurs on Earth.
I hate it already.
Yeah.
The only dinosaurs I like play basketball now. Shout out to the Raptors.
I will. Do you have much more to say about this before we go on to pitching what we would like to see from this?
I'd like to point out that there was a scene where Alan Grant asked how said something about like, oh, Ian and you have been in contact, and she's like, yeah, he slid into my DMs.
Oh my god!
Boy, did I roll my eyes super hard. Like, I think I groaned out loud. I think I heard a couple chuckles in the theater, and it just made me. It just had that hey fellow kids, old people energy, trying to be connect to the hip youth.
My god!
And
and it was weird when Ian Malkin
it.
did that TikTok dance. That was so strange. Why did they put that in there? He was flossing, and and then they had like a filter that had raptors that were also dancing with him. You know, that
it was the only way to distract the T-Rex.
Yeah.
To like, you know, instead of the flames in front of the face, he had to do it's like floss. It's like, is this it?
Oh my god, the dinosaur's dabbing.
I see a T-Rex dabbing on a T-shirt would be kind of cute.
Could you even tell what it was doing? See, you need Salad Fingers doing it because he has the long.
Well, no,
arms.
the T-Rex would do it, but it would just have to like put his head like way down. Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to leave with, from the words of Ian Malcolm, he says, Jurassic World? Not a fan. So what do you want to see? What's your pitches? Because I have a few ideas. You got a few ideas. What can we make out
Well,
of
I know
this?
we've sort of been in the same realm, but
And we were talking about it last week as well.
So it's clear that what you and I wanted to see was dinosaurs in the real world and used in real ways. So let's say we have everything up to Fallen Kingdom, and this is the pitch for this movie. So the movie opens up, and it's just some small town. It could be in America, could be in some foreign country, and you know everyone's having a good time. Maybe there's a barbecue going on in the back, and then you hear a weird sound, and a kid like walks away, and it's like, "What's that sound?" And it looks through the bushes, and you know, raptor, whatever. And so we just see this like
Raptor, whatever.
yeah, we just see the opening scene of this movie is just this terrifying sequence of these dinosaurs just like viciously attacking this town or this party or whatever.
I can see like a crane shot. You're pulling up, and it's just they're running through people's backyards.
Yeah. So we have this real scary opening scene, very reminiscent of the very first scene of the first Jurassic Park. Because I remember when I was a kid and I saw that for the first time, I was like, oh, this movie's scary. I don't know if I want to do this. Like, that guy getting pulled in by that raptor was fucking terrifying. And then we have Chris Pratt's character, and there's news reports of, you know, a raptor attack in this area. It's like, it's like, oh, it's so crazy that, you know, dinosaurs in society now, and you know we're trying to wrangle them all up. It's not 4 years in the future, I don't think, or maybe it is. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But what we come to learn is that you find out later in the film that attack wasn't random. It was actually an organized attack because someone in that town or that party or whatever was someone of importance. Maybe it was like a Colombian drug lord or something like that.
Witness protection.
Something.
You know,
and it's just like, so that person was targeted.
with the laser thing. Like,
Maybe the laser thing. It was just
that makes sense because that.
Yeah, basically what I'm getting at is like dinosaurs have been used for. They've trained dinosaurs to attack.
Which is, you know, why they were selling them in the last movie.
In the first one.
Second one.
Well, the Vincent D'Onofrio's character wanted to use them
that's
for
true.
war.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking.
You're right.
But yes. So now we've fully embraced that. So this movie is Chris Pratt, who we've established was in the Navy in this movie. Like you said, like he has a military background, uses his military contacts to go like, okay, now there's essentially a SEAL Team 6 who control dinosaurs, who use them for military-esque missions or, you know, espionage, where they use them to attack people. And so since Chris Pratt is a Raptors expert and the Raptors are the ones like doing the attacks, you have Chris Pratt going in and going like, okay, we need to take out we can't allow this technology to exist and use these raptors in this way. And so it's just him taking down this black ops covert military organization. Maybe have like a Jason Momoa type person who like maybe served with him, and he's like now he's the leader. It's like he stole Chris Pratt's research from Jurassic Park or Jurassic World or whatever. And it's like, so he kind of is the anti Chris Pratt. He's the bad guy. He has the same sort of military training, or maybe he's even better. So you have these epic human on human fight sequences where they, you know, they're basically one the same, but Chris Pratt's the good guy. You know, the classic superhero.
Iron Man fights Iron Monger.
General Zod versus Superman kind of thing.
Well, I just to add a little switch to that, maybe the villain character, maybe the training, the hand gestures, they're good for the stage show, but it's hard to use that in the field. So I can see they would be, no, we have helmets on them that would like give them a shock, give them electrical impulses to make them go to sleep, get angrier.
Yeah, I'm talking like full mind control dinosaurs.
Yeah, they'd be more remote control, if anything, and not necessarily someone blows a whistle and clicks a pen a few times and they know what to do.
Yeah, like there'll be a scene where the Super Raptor shows up, or not necessarily the Super Raptor. I'm just saying like the trained one is coming up. I'm just gonna say it's Jason Momoa.
Okay. Yeah, why not?
Let's get a guy in here, and it looks like the Raptor's gonna bite him, but it like just gets so close to him, but Jason Momoa has no fear because it knows like I'm fully controlling this raptor.
Yeah, I'm holding down on the button and sending the
like,
signal. And
he can have these all three like raptors circling him and just full command, and he never fears.
Yeah,
because it's like I have full control.
He's like he could like go up and slap one in the face, and it just doesn't do anything. Like, look, you've done the training to show us that raptors can be trained and used in ways we want. I just took it to the next level.
They're still too wild.
Yeah,
and that brings Chris Pratt in to allow. It's like, okay, well, you have a raptor. I need to get my pet raptor, and that's how you keep Blue in the franchise, because Blue's the money maker. It's not like Blue. He's not like calling Blue up and just like.
I picture him at a bar, having drinks, and he just like sits down next to him, like, I haven't seen you in a few years. I thought we were done. Like, I need you, Blue.
One last ride. Yeah, so you have Chris Pratt fighting Jason Momoa while Blue fights the raptor in the background, and
Red.
Red, oh, of course.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it's right there.
Yeah.
And so you have that dynamic of the good guy duo versus the bad guy duo. And that's kind of like my soft pitch.
Okay.
I didn't have a lot else with that.
Well, some changes I would make is Chris Pratt is part of the government team of dinosaur wrangling and control, whatever it is. He is the dog catcher of dinosaurs. He realizes like these are wild animals. They should not be trained. They shouldn't be out in the wild, and they need to be contained because they're not going to kill them. Maybe they have a facility like we have in Jurassic World where we're going to just dump them all in this crater, and whether they live or whether they die, it's up to them. We're giving them their spot. Let's see how nature takes over, and they can't get out because of electrical fences or whatever. I don't care. So. Yeah, he isn't like pulled back in to help. I think he should be headlining it. It's like I did my part to kind of get us here, and so I gotta repay those sins, and he's that. So then you have lady
Bryce
Dallas Howard.
I imagine I forgot to mention in mine. I imagined her as like she has now become the leader of a dinosaur like eco group,
like PETA. It's
like
PETA,
yeah, PETA for dinosaurs. That's what I imagine she's doing, and she's wrangling them up to keep them alive, while Chris Pratt is wrangling them just to like keep them from like his job is to get them all out of society. Her job is to keep them safe. Like that's kind of what they're doing.
She's stopping maybe some of the poaching stuff and freeing, and maybe even Chris Pratt's like, some of these have to be put down. He's hesitant to do it, but like some of these are just too dangerous to be in the world. And
he's killing the big bads. She's kind of protecting like the little baby triceratops, which they touched on a little bit in this movie, but didn't do anything with.
So some other things, like I said, I think they should reproduce quickly. Oh, you remember that like brontosaurus looking thing that's like walking around in the snow?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure prehistoric times was a lot hotter. It was very tropical for the dinosaurs, and I think it's because of like the methane they release. That like they changed the environment, and it was more definitely closer to our equator.
Sure.
I don't think any of these dinosaurs are hanging out in snowy Montana or anything. I think they all would have migrated to along the equator. So you like, yeah, maybe there's dinosaurs in the world, but there's a lot of countries like, well, we don't really have we maybe have some in the water, some in the air, but we don't have some of these other ones because they're down in the equator.
Sure.
That's more of a sciencey nitpick, but whatever.
Yeah,
Seeing a dinosaur
but
in snow is cool.
It is cool, and I'd argue that part didn't bother me. When I first saw it, I kind of initially thought, like, I don't know if this dinosaur would hang out in the snow.
Nah.
But at the same time, I was like, but maybe it just doesn't know any better, and it doesn't necessarily.
You're
because
so
like
tall up there, you could see for far ways. Go somewhere where it's not snowing.
That wouldn't bother me. I would just think
Yeah.
like they didn't expect it to get as cold as it did, and then they did, and it's like, well, it's going to take me a while to find wherever to go.
And maybe that's part of it. It's like people cheer on the snow because the dinosaurs leave. They migrate south, and it's just like, oh, finally, we could actually feel safe in the world because we know there aren't going to be pterodactyls coming and plucking me out of the, from the sky. So I think they should reproduce quickly, and they're just growing exponentially, but also because they're not used to eating our animals and our plants, it would have changes in their bodies. So maybe they are just evolving more quickly, and either they are letting out so much more methane gas and they're heating up the planet, or they're creating diseases that are brand new, and maybe that's what's killing off cattle. You don't go with the locust thing. It's like these animals are just not meant to be in this time. We don't have the same biosphere as before, so they are actually harmful to life on the planet. So then you make the dinosaurs the bad guys. It doesn't matter if it's a cute stegosaurus that's just a peaceful grass eater. You can see maybe it's boils, or like maybe like the science has now gone bad because it can't be regulated in the park with I think it was like lysine that they were giving them, so they couldn't mate or whatever it was.
Right.
It was like to regulate something. Well, now that they're getting all these weird things in their system, the science has gone completely bad, and so you're getting them acting a little more rambunctious, and they are running amok, and they're not just trying to be peaceful things. And so you have scenes of just your peaceful stegosaurus is running through a city because they've eaten something that's kind of like a what's the Last of Us stuff, the mushrooms, the fungus,
the fungus,
anything like that. So we get these like fun action sequences of like people feeling the shake and go, oh god, is that an earthquake, or oh crap, that's a dinosaur attack, and people having to take shelter. And I thought of kind of like a Pacific Rim, where they started trying to build walls around places. They have shelters for when kaiju attacks happen. I think that's where we needed to go with these movies. A little more apocalyptic, but society is still together.
Yeah.
But we've had to vastly change how we live because these things are just kind of out of control. And so maybe there are some cities that have been abandoned, and maybe we try to keep them like closer in the Montana, Idaho area. And it's like, look, there's tons of land there without people in cities. Let's try to get the dinosaurs there. But for some reason, maybe they keep coming into the city, and so we have special patrols and sirens and alarms. I just like, we were promised this dinosaur world, and we didn't. We just got another dinosaur park.
Yeah. One thing I didn't say in our talk about the movie is one thing I'm so tired of as well is every ending of these movies has to have, oh, here's a T-Rex versus another big thing.
Yeah.
It's like, are any of us really rooting? I understand that T-Rex is the most popular dinosaur of all time, and I'm fine with it being the figurehead of the franchise, but, like, why are we rooting for this dinosaur like so much? It's like we always have to end on a big T-Rex versus some other thing battle, which we always know that the T-Rex is going to win.
Yeah. They've even said, like, no, the T-Rex doesn't lose.
Yeah, and it's just like, why is this T-Rex the Vin Diesel of Jurassic? It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
It's boring at this point. And another thing that frustrated me is they're like, oh, that's the blah, 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 blahdosaur. It's the biggest carnivore we've ever seen. The Spinosaurus in number 3 was like twice the size of the T-Rex. It's like, what? We're loosely defining these terms of like what's the biggest one.
Yeah, I think it was the biggest carnivore, and I think since Jurassic Park 3, we've found out that the Spinosaurus was not a carnivore. So
They just kind of retconned it.
I think.
Because I saw a little Spinosaurus figure at Alan Grant's thing in the background, so I was like, they exist.
Yeah.
Or existed.
But they were more like water-based. They weren't like these hulking T-Rex things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which, fine.
I gotta say, I like the Spinosaurus.
I do too.
It got shit on so much, and people at first it was like, "Oh, it's the new big bad," and then people were like, "But I like the T-Rex. The T-Rex is the hero. How could this thing like crack its neck?" And because it does like snap its neck. And
that's what I liked about is just like there was something that took down a T-Rex.
Yeah, and it was cool and it was different. And then it was like, oh well, the T-Rex is so cool. We need to. What else can we do? Oh well, what if we put a raptor in a T-Rex? Oh, a big raptor. Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, that'll be our next one. Well, what are we gonna do after that? Well, what if we take that big raptor T-Rex and made it raptor size? And like, oh, so you put a T-Rex in a raptor now? And like, well, that's not very creative. You just did like the inverse of this. It's the same exact dinosaur, just smaller. And then in this one, it's, okay, we didn't do any genetically modified ones, or we just did real ones, but it was just, what's the other T-Rex type thing? It's the, I think it's like the Gigantosaurus or something like that. It's really dumb. And then Salad Fingers also has a dumb name. And it's like, well, this one has cool claws. Well, what can we do with that? Oh, let's just have another 3-way fight with these new dinosaurs versus the T-Rex.
Yeah. And I just thought it was funny that thing showed up. And I like that it impaled the other dinosaur, and it was like a cool death and a cool way to do that. But it just felt weird that these two dinosaurs were just like,
let's fuck this guy up.
Let's fuck this guy up. And they kind of looked at each other and they're like, bro, and then just gave their dinosaur version of just like fist bumping, and then just
scream to the sky.
Yeah, and then just like, what? Why was this guy there anyway?
I know, if they made it a thing, like at the facility, they're saying, oh, the Gigantosaurus is really aggravating, and it's really been trying to like get at the facility. It's really banging on our walls. It's killing dinosaurs for fun. We can't get it under control, and every time we go out to get it, our men die or whatever. So it's a problem. But it just kind of shows up, and they're like, oh my god, it's the biggest one of all time. They must be the bad guys, so we gotta kill it. Are the dinosaurs good or bad? It's just the ones with teeth are bad, except when they are good. I don't know.
Yeah, the T-Rex is like this hero character who constantly shows up and saves them from whatever's attacking them at the time.
It's like he knows. It's like, oh, Alan Grant, the legacy character's back. Dude, I've been in all 6 of these movies, or 5. I guess I wasn't in part 3, but yeah, and then the one that almost kills Bryce Dallas Howard, he shows up for the big fight, and what, now he's the hero too? He's a good guy? Wasn't he just trying to kill our second lead? Who am I supposed to cheer for?
Yeah, it was weird. It's like, I remember they had the line of, they have 2 apex predators in the same area. There's only going to be one soon. I was like, well, and at this point in my brain, I totally forgot that at the end, there's always a fight. I was like, I turned to my wife, I was just like, they're going to fight at the end, and the T-Rex is going to win. And then, of course, it happens. Like, oh, God, I don't care about this at all.
It's so boring. And if they killed the T-Rex, that would have been like, oh, well, that's different.
I think they should have. I think the other dinosaur kills the T-Rex, and then Salad Fingers comes in. I love that we just call it Salad Fingers. And Salad Fingers comes in and kills that thing when they're just like, oh, the T-Rex failed. We're about to die, or Ian Malcolm's about to get eaten. And just as it's about to get bitten, we have impaled through the neck, and that thing shows up, and it's like, I'm the new apex predator. It's like, cool. That would have been fun.
I can't see the studios would be like, what? So the coolest character, the T-Rex, dies, and then this weird ostrich things with like long nails for fingers. That's gonna be the hero? No. We can't have that. It may be the cool new dinosaur, but it's never gonna be more popular. So the T-Rex has to live, and they're just gonna tag team.
Honestly, I will give them credit for. You know, you have the cowboy scene where Chris Pratt is just like wrangling dinosaurs because he's built Ford tough or whatever. Which that whole scene was absurd too, but was fun. I give them credit for not doing the obvious thing of having Chris Pratt ride a dinosaur to save someone at some point. Either riding that thing from the beginning, the tauntaun looking thing, and like picking up the kid at the last second to get him away from a dinosaur, or it's just like, they're about to get killed. He gets on top of Triceratops, and the Triceratops impales the. Like, I give them a lot of credit for not No one ever rides a dinosaur.
Yes. And even if it was a thing of like they're running off rooftops and he falls and he lands on a dinosaur and then he has to hold on like a bucking bronco for a second and then rolls off. Not even that. So at least there's that restraint.
They're just like, that would be too ridiculous in this movie. Yeah.
You know what dinosaur is kind of funny in these world ones? The one that's from the tank, the big water ocean one, because it's like he kills the
Indominus Rex.
Indominus Rex, and then in the second one fucks people up and like causes it doesn't it like no I'm sorry, it breaks out of the cage and gets into the ocean and we see it swimming with the surfers and stuff. No one's touching it. This one, movie opens, it's taking down a ship. It's like, that one, no problem, that one's gonna live. If they wipe them all out from the planet, that one's still gonna survive.
And I mean, well, one, how would you really begin to find it?
I mean, I guess if you get a tracker on it, it went after their crabs. If you had enough like chum in a net and you're dragging it behind and you're really, really, really using sensors and stuff, you could get a tracker on it. They could get one on the Meg.
Do a spin-off mini movie, just a very small, low budget film where that's like Jaws but with a dinosaur.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done so many like giant shark movies.
It's the Meg,
Yeah, it's been done. But honestly,
put it in the Jurassic World universe.
Sure, yeah. I think that might be fun. It's just like there's no big overarching thing. It's just like, this is a loose dinosaur that got I know we always pitch anthology stories.
Yeah.
If you wanted to continue Jurassic Park, do the Jurassic anthology series where you just have these small stories of people interacting with dinosaurs in the real world.
You already did it with your promos of the people at camping and the movie theater one. They don't have to be super scary or high stakes or lots of death or anything, but just show us things.
There can be cute ones, there can be scary ones, there can be action adventure ones. You can do a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember when the trailer came out and you saw that dinosaur take down the boat, I was like, that's actually really scary. Like, imagine being in the middle of the ocean, which was already kind of scary in its own sense, and then you're just like going about your day job, and then this thing bigger than your ship is like pulling you under. So scary. I can't imagine. But just a quick little scene in the beginning, and then just like, that's it. And then you see him at the end like high-fiving a whale, and you're like, I guess I'm rooting for him now. He seems like a chill guy. He's like, he just killed some sailors.
All the dinosaurs found like, it's like they're the new kids in school and they found someone to like latch on to, and they're like, oh, you like running in planes? We like running in planes. Yeah, we're gonna hang out with the horses. We're cool. And like, okay, you're the biggest thing in the ocean. I'm the biggest motherfucker in the ocean now. So now he's like the big Mafia Don, and he has all the blue whales underneath.
Mafia Don is actually a good name for a dinosaur.
Mafia Don. So we got Salad Fingers and Mafia Don. Oh my god, that's good.
Thank you.
So yeah, this is a big when it comes to smash or pass. This is a pass.
Yeah,
I would say like you would swipe. You're on Tinder and whatever, and Jurassic World comes up, and you see all these like really nice looking pictures of dinosaurs, and like the potential is there. But then you go on a date with this person, and there's just a million red flags, and they're also boring. So yeah, this is a swipe left. This is a pass.
Yeah, hard pass. I wanted to like this movie more, and I was hoping that there'd be something to latch on to, but just, once again, waste of potential. Just action sequence after action sequences that almost all of them were just like boring and nonsensical and ridiculous, and I just didn't care about it.
Just to show off dinosaurs.
Just to show off dinosaurs. And either we need a new dinosaur franchise to get behind, maybe something where it takes place in an alternate reality where people that do coexist with dinosaurs and ride dinosaurs, and we have these big awesome dinosaur riding battles. Maybe people riding pterodactyls, and you do like Avatar and they're shooting bow and arrows at like, maybe it's kind of like a medieval time thing but with dinosaurs. Do something cool with that. Dinosaurs throughout time.
You ever read Dinotopia?
No.
I think you would like Dinotopia.
Yeah. So do something like that, because it sucks that the only franchise we have for dinosaurs really is Jurassic Park, and it's just, how are we going to put them in a park again?
Yeah. It's weird that you could have so many different franchises of just man with gun or man in car, and nobody really bats an eye. It's like, yeah, man have gun, of course. But if you have like dinosaur do thing. Like, well, this is just a Jurassic Park ripoff.
Yeah. And I understand, like, dinosaurs are expensive because either you're building giant animatronic robots or you're spending a bunch of money on special
There's only so
effects.
many in the world, and they all have really good booking agents.
Yeah.
It's hard to get dinosaurs.
So I imagine you having the IP established where it's like, okay, well, we keep going back to Jurassic Park, World, whatever, because that's an established thing. We know people will pay for that. I get it, but we need new dinosaur shit.
Yeah.
Because your dinosaur shit sucks. It's like people didn't love the third one, but the third one is honestly probably second best at this point.
I
don't remember 2 all that well.
I go back and forth with 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It's like 2 is really fun and it's short. It's like 90 minutes. Like this one is 2.5 hours. 90 minutes.
I checked my watch a bunch during this movie too. I was like, I can't wait for this to be over.
And like 2, I think has lots of good stuff in it, but it is that sort of, well, I want to do dinosaurs in the real world, but I don't want to wait till Jurassic Park 3, which is what the plan was with Steven Spielberg. So it's like, no, I'm going to shove it into 2. And like, you did it too early. You still needed to just do one more, and then that's what 3 is about.
I'm okay with, what I like about 2 is just like, okay, we do have them in the real world, but it's just the one.
Sure.
It's just the one T-Rex. So it's like we get a little taste of it.
There was supposed to be raptors as well.
Okay, so we just get a little taste of it. So it's just like, this would be, you know, a sample of what's to come. And then the third one happens, and, you know, it's fine that it took place on the island again, but it was a different island, and, you know.
It was just a smaller story.
Yeah, and then you see the pterodactyls fly away at the end, so it's like, once again, hinting at they're coming.
Yeah.
But then you spend another 2 movies where they don't come, and it's just...
Every single movie is just kind of like, dinosaurs in the world. That'd be really cool, right? You're not going to get it.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that it's called... this franchise is called Jurassic World, and it's only in this last one that you get them in it, but you really only have one scene of them, which is the Malta scene, and the rest is just locust stuff.
Yeah. Before I want to rank all of them.
Okay.
I don't think this will be hard or very fast, but one last thing that needs to be said. Since Jurassic World, they've now made B.D. Wong's character like, ooh, this is the new villain. He's now corrupt. He's done the science and he loves what he can do with it. He's making crazy abominations. He's going to be the villain. And even he gets a redemption arc. Oh, I'm the only one that could save us all because of the locusts, and I also want to atone for the things that I've done. And he doesn't die. I thought he was a surefire death. We got no deaths in this besides Dodson, and it was just a Dilophosaurus attack, and it wasn't even that cool. He got spit on a few times. They don't show the effect of the spit. And then they just attack him, and you just hear screams. How boring is that? No one dies because you can't kill off your leads, you can't kill off your legacy characters, you can't kill off a kid, you don't want to kill off the new people. It's frustrating.
Yeah, I think he should have gotten out of the tunnel, and maybe he was being chased by the Dilophosaurs, and then he like thinks he gets away, and then you see the spikes in the water from the dinosaurs from the earlier sequences, and they like pull him in and drag him into the water, and he's like splashing around, and like he gets a brutal death because like what made the death in Jurassic Park scare with the Dilophosaurs is like, yeah, you don't see him get eaten, but you see the car shaking,
and the screams.
So there was like a lot of violence, unseen violence,
implied
to that.
Violence.
Yeah, where like in this one it just cuts away.
Cut to the. I mean, if the train was rocking, that would be a little weird.
It'd be silly.
You would see like because there was a small open hatch, you would see his feet go by, you'd see a tail whip, you'd see shadows move around, and then maybe a splash of blood. But it's just
Yeah, honestly, I think the biggest arc in the entire franchise is B.D. Wong going from the guy who just kind of had a couple lines in the first movie to never being seen again in 2 or 3, and then being a staple of Jurassic World franchise in a weird way.
And then I don't think he's in Fallen Kingdom. I think he disappears again.
I thought he is.
Or maybe he is, but he's not. He doesn't have a major part. I don't think he's in the house.
I really need to. Well, I don't want to.
No, I'm not rewatching that movie.
It's like I probably could use a rewatch, but I don't want to.
No, it's not good enough.
I feel like I could talk about this franchise and
Yeah.
this movie, and
I'm
I know I've missed stuff that bothered me, and probably want to talk about. Oh, fuck it. While we're here,
yeah.
so you have the locusts in their plastic cage facility or whatever, where they need to go in and steal the DNA. Mm-hmm. And they go in, they're like, don't make a bunch of movement or whatever. And they have them in these little, like, grass pods. But they're not, like, locked up.
No.
They can get out at any point
Yeah.
in terms of get out and, like, move about the room.
Sure.
And
But they're content unless they get spooked.
But they're
and then they swarm.
And then they're so, I guess because the alarm goes off, they're just so wild in the room that the Dodson goes, okay, well, like, set them all on fire. It's just like, it just seemed like so weird. Like, and then they all swarm and attack. It's like, so there's no safety features for any of your people who go in there and do tests. Like, how are they doing any testing on these things at all if, like, they're violent and, like, bite and, like,
Maybe they wear more protective suits when they go in there.
It just seemed like none of that sequence made any sense in terms of, like, how they store these things and how they, like, treat them and monitor them.
And then they're just able to, like, pop out the crappy ceiling and go out of it.
I guess the argument there was that the fire weakened the ceiling.
I guess.
To get out.
I guess.
I just thought that was silly, too. It was just an excuse for them to be outside.
And they
on
burned
fire.
and burned and burned. And it's like, their wings would go first. There's no way these things are still flying and on fire. But makes some cool
They're genetically altered, so their wings are tougher. Who cares? I'm fine with that ultimately, but
absolutely.
It's just another sequence where I was just like, I don't think this makes any sense.
So how would you rank the Jurassic Park movies?
Oof.
I think for simplicity, I'll go first.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I was gonna do the same thing.
It's like 2 and 3 is interchangeable, and I think you could even say 5 and 6 are, because it's like, yeah, there's no story and it's kind of stupid for 6, but at least there's a lot of dinosaurs. And 2 is 2 incomplete movies and it's kind of dumb. And so I don't know. It would just depend on what my mood is.
I think, yeah, one's all-time classic, one of the best movies ever made. Yeah. Perfect.
Even with Steven Spielberg, he couldn't make a better sequel, you know?
Yeah. But I think that they're at least what 2 has going for it is a Steven Spielberg movie still. So, like, there is good things in it.
Yeah, like Julianne Moore and Vince Vaughn are good in it. Like, it's a likable cast, and I like the plot.
And 3, I think
it's the weird one.
It's the weird one, and, like, I know a lot of people shit on the, like, talking raptor dream sequence.
It's a dream. Who cares?
It is a dream, yeah. But I think the Spinosaurus is scary, and it's visually an interesting.
Pterodactyls were.
Oh, the
pterodons or whatever they are.
Like, I think there is some good stuff in there, and it is, you know, at least a self-contained thing. Yeah,
it's weird because it's like the first one has some pretty big stakes. The first one, then the second one, it's even bigger, and we're hunting dinosaurs, and now there's 2 T-Rex. It's bigger, and then the third one, it's like, well, we do have a bigger dinosaur, but it's a much simpler story, and I like that not everything had to be the Jurassic world-ending sort of thing. This is what we kind of were saying, like almost a spin-off movie. Yeah. This is like a little branch off the main timeline.
And I think it was a good way to bring Alan Grant back. Yeah. It's just like, oh, it's a rescue mission for our son, and you're the guy who knows these dinosaurs on the island. So, or like, it made sense. And it's like, well, I knew this island, not this island.
I didn't know Site B. Yeah. Do you know which one's which? There's Sora and Nublar.
Nublar is the
Site B?
Site B, yeah. So Site B was the one from the first one, I think.
No, that's Site A. Site B is where they breed the dinosaurs, which is 2 and 3 are on Site B. Site A is Jurassic Park.
Right.
Site B.
Either way. So yeah, and I just remember like the part where they're like in the third one when they're at the big gate or whatever, and then you just hear the phone. It's like, where's the phone coming from? It's like, and they just turn around and it's just like in its teeth. And
no, it's in its belly.
Or it's
inside. Like it's such a loud phone you could hear it through the flesh and the muscle of the dinosaur.
It was like stuck in its teeth.
No, because eventually it shits it out.
I just remember like them turning around, just that shot of it just standing there, like staring at him. So fucking scary.
It is, but it's also dumb because we've established when a T-Rex is walking, it makes huge thumps.
Yeah. I mean, all these movies are something coming out of frame that you would have heard come from. It's like even Chris Pratt, you would have heard like stomp up to the dinosaur before it like choked it out with his super strong, muscular Chris Pratt arms.
Yeah.
But so there's good stuff throughout all 1 through 3, and then. Four is fine. 4 is fine. 4 works because it does the Star Wars Force Awakens thing. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to make the first movie, but bigger.
Yeah.
and it's the exact same plot, exact same. It's all the same beats.
Yeah.
So that's why Jurassic World kind of works, because it's just copying the first one.
But I think over the years, you start seeing the flaws and the errors. It was nice to go back to Jurassic Park. It was new, and it's you see it for the first time and go, wow, I really like that. And then on repeat viewings, you go, oh, I start seeing the flaws and the cracks, and it's not nearly as good. But I don't hate Jurassic World.
No, I don't. No. I don't hate Jurassic World either. And 5, super forgettable. There's sequences that I remember and go, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And I think
Volcano running from lava
but
and
it's
inside
like-
a house.
But I'd say it's number 5 because it has the luxury of me forgetting it. Where this one, there is so little to like. It was, and I already said before, too long. I didn't like any of the characters. None of the characters did anything that made any sense to me or said anything that made any sense to me. And just uninspired action sequences.
Yeah, which are the things that are supposed to like hold this movie up,
Yeah.
are these dinosaur moments, and they realize this plot they have is so flimsy that these cool dinosaur moments will be strong enough to hold it all up. And I guess it does, because it gets you through the end, but there's really nothing. It's just this thin tissue paper of a plot of just, well, we need these people here and they are there, and then things happen. It's I can't believe there's multiple writers on this. There's barely anything to write. This is like AI generated sort of script. Oh, then the dinosaur attacks the plane, they crash the plane, and then the dinosaur attacks them on the ice, and then they get out of the ice, and then the dinosaur attacks the facility, and then they get out of the facility. It's just paint by numbers.
There, and I understand that these people are in an area where dinosaurs are prevalent. So, like, of course, they'd run into them often. But at a certain point, it's just like, you can only escape so many dinosaur scenarios before you're just like, okay, I want them to die.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, this is boring to see them just constantly escape thing after thing after thing. There needs to be some sort of, like, tension building.
Yeah.
But when it's just action sequence into action sequence, it's like, and especially when there's no story for me to be invested of, like, their journey or their mission, especially when you haven't established what their goal is, to eliminate dinosaurs or to save all the dinosaurs or whatever. It's like there's nothing to hold on to in terms of their choices or their journey, and so I was thoroughly bored and frustrated, and it's been a while. I haven't been this angry in a movie, I think, since I saw the fourth Transformers movie, Age of Extinction.
Okay.
Because I was physically angry in that one. That made me hot.
And that was the one that we were promised, like, Dinobot action, and we barely got any Dinobot action. Stop making promises with dinosaurs that you can't keep.
Yeah. I would like a shot at writing a Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've already squandered the dinosaurs in the world story, because that's what this should have been. So, like I said last time, human dinosaur hybrids. Let's do it.
I don't want that. I don't want that at all.
Let's go fucking nuts. Okay, we find a new island, and it's like Skull Island. You know,
Island Olbar.
There's what?
There's Island Newbar. This is Island Olbar.
Yes.
No, never mind. Bad joke.
Newblar, not new bar. Sorry.
You say tomato, I say Dilophosaurus. Hey, man.
And it's Dilophosaurus, not Dilophosaurus.
God, your action energy is the most annoying thing.
I'll cut all this out.
It's like we can't be bothered to remember the actors' names or
But you said a
directors'
dinosaur
names.
wrong.
But if I say a
so-
dinosaur name wrong,
Sorry.
God fucking forbid. You know that information.
Yeah, well, I just don't want people to be like, oh my god, this Steve doesn't even know how to pronounce Dilophosaurus. He keeps calling it Dilophosaurus. It's like a dilapidated car. That's dilapidated. Fuck!
Hey, I came up with Mafia Don.
That's true.
It's a grand slam home run of a dinosaur right there.
Oh, I'm glad that people have been listening.
And the fact that they were in Italy and they didn't come up with a new dinosaur named Mafia Don. Shit,
yeah.
it's right there.
Just with its hat and the coat over its shoulders, but his arms aren't in the sleeve, and he's got the rose on the lapel, and maybe a mustache.
Yep.
So yeah, pass. Bad. I'm done. Don't need to do any more of this franchise.
Kill it.
Think of a new one.
Honestly, I think they should pretty much end all franchises after 3, no matter what it is, no matter how good it is, no matter how popular. 3. It's like, if you want to do the James Bond thing and you make new James Bond movies, fine, but each actor, they get 3
You
and they're
get
done.
3. Oh, okay. Kind of like a president, you only get 2 terms or whatever.
It's
you get 3 and then you're done.
Yeah, this is your trilogy.
Now, but what about things like Marvel, where it's like you could only be Captain America for 3 movies, but we need you in at least 8? And
that's different because you've established a
Cinematic
long-standing universe where there's interconnected stories. It's like you're not pulling the Fast and the Furious. I know they're like the go-to. It's like you're not pulling the Fast and the Furious crew into the Jurassic Park universe or whatever. It's like it was long established that this was going to be 3 and done. Also, Marvel's pulling from 75 plus years of comic books.
Sure.
So there's reference points there for that to be
and more
continuing.
precedent for
Yeah.
okay. I get
But if
it.
you're an original property and you're coming in and this is my idea for movie 1 and it's a hit, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to continue it. You get 2 more.
Okay.
And then I'm done. Unless all 3 are grand slam home runs, it's like
Then you get granted another 3
Then-
or
then-
another 1.
then it goes to committee and we can establish. It's like, pitch your ideas to me. If we like it, we might give you another one.
Okay.
But you're only getting 1 at a time.
All right, yeah. Just to be safe.
Yeah, 'cause if the
how
fourth
many
one-
part 4 is the best in the series?
Yeah, if 4 isn't good, then
Then at least it's like, well, okay, of course. We may have milked it a little too hard.
Yeah.
But if it's a hit, then and maybe if 4 is a hit, then you have to go to 6.
I could agree to those terms. We'll see.
I like that. 3 and done. You want to be the new Batman? Cool. You get 3 Batman, you're out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now what about like horror movies like Freddy Krueger?
Well,
you only get to make a trilogy of Freddy Krueger movies?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially horror movies. In the age of every horror movie needs to go on for 40
Yeah.
years,
Okay.
and we're rebooting the franchise. Nope.
Okay, well that brings up another question. Say we do this 3 thing, and there's a hit that happened 30 years ago. How long do you have to wait until you can do that sort of legacy reboot?
Now you're talking like
reimagining?
Tom Cruise doing Top Gun Maverick kind of reboot, or are you talking about like, okay, well, we did the Christian Bale Batman, now we're doing the Robert Pattinson Batman? Like, what are we talking here?
I guess I'm thinking more of, is there rules on that? It has to be 30 years before you can remake a movie, and if you remake it, does it have to be recast, or do you have to bring back someone? Does it have to be in continuity? Are there rules for that?
I think if they're like, you do a trilogy and the trilogy was successful, or even if it wasn't or whatever, like, I think if something was so poorly or something like never really took off, you can reboot the franchise. I think it has to be new actors and all that kind of stuff, because it's just like, well, this probably didn't work here. Maybe it was before its time. We have an idea and we can bring it to the future and make it something new and great, and that could work. But if it's a hit franchise and you're just like,
No reboots.
no reboots, it's like,
It is.
this is why people are just like, we've been hearing rumblings of just like, oh, we're gonna reboot Back to the Future. Don't fucking do that.
Yeah.
No one wants that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Only movie executives.
Only
want
movie
that.
executives want that because it's an established property.
Yeah.
So we established this rule where it's like, okay, your trilogy was a hit.
You're done.
You're done.
You can make more time travel movies.
Yeah.
But it could be even similar, but you just can't do Marty McFly and DeLorean and Doc Brown.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't think you do it.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Yeah. And there's rare occasions where it's like, okay, well, now we're doing the Top Gun. It's 30 years later. Tom Cruise. This is this, but that works because it's the second one. Mm-hmm. Where
Yeah, and if you get 3, who says you have to do them in a row?
Yeah.
It's like Top Gun was a hit. You get 3. Cool. I'm going to do part 2 in 30 years. And then I'm going to do part 3 30 years after that. Like, oh, well, that wasn't the plan, but I get my 3 movies, and that's what it is.
But that also goes back to the rule of, okay, your first 3 were a hit, and you're done. But all three were successful, all three were well received, and you want to come do a fourth one, but you want to do it 30 years from now, it's like, okay, well, you can come back to me because like time has passed. Maybe your idea is great. You have proven this franchise works. We'll give you a fourth one, and you could do it that way.
Cool.
But I think all franchises get 3 now. If you're talking about adapting books that have 7 books, all those get 7. That's fine. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about original ideas and you want to make multiple of them, 3 in it.
Okay. All right. 2 guys who know nothing about the industry creating rules, I think, are very fair.
I think we know enough.
We know enough. Well, you got anything else for Jurassic Park? I'm sorry, Jurassic World Dominion.
I don't think there's anything else to say. Like I want to blame people, but I think I wish I could blame the director or the actors or.
This was a COVID movie. This got shut down. There's no excuse that you didn't have stuff filmed and things written out and storyboarded that you couldn't have like worked on, because like they rewrote Barry, right? Because they had the time to work on it. You didn't look at any of this and think, maybe we should actually put a plot in this. It was just, no, we're writing on the name Jurassic World. It doesn't matter. We'd already turned in our script. Why do more work on something that we know is going to be a surefire hit? So, well, shame on them for squandering potential.
Yeah, if there's any reason for me to personally hope that dinosaurs in real life come to be and come out, I hope it's to like just wipe out a society who thinks this shit is okay. And I know there's bigger problems in the world than this dumb movie, but as a fan of film and all that, we can and we need to do better. And this is one of those movies. Watching it makes me go, we need change in the industry of what's worthy of getting made, and why original ideas are important, because we're living in the age of the death of the original idea, I think. And it makes me sad.
Hear, hear. All right, well, if you want to get in contact with us with any of your questions or comments or concerns and queries, we are at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com or WRPL Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Hit us up. As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
Good night.
It wasn't worse than Space Jam, though.
No. Can anything be? Stop making promises with dinosaurs that you can't keep.